not true. It's bullshit. I did not hit her. I did not. Oh, hi.
Eddie, how can you sit there and eat pizza?
Silent Hill 2 is a great game about a man looking to replace his wife with her hot twin, and you should totally play it. Thanks for watching. Okay, this joke isn't gonna work. You can clearly see that the video is not even close to being over. I don't know why YouTubers do this. It stopped being funny like 10 years ago. Well, depends on how you do it. Anyway, Silent Hill 2 is widely considered to be the best psychological horror game ever, and just one of the best horror games of all time. And I mean, yeah. What, you thought I would say that it's not true? Well, it is. It's hard to disagree. Silent Hill 2 represents the peak of storytelling in horror games, and for more than 20 years, lots of games try to replicate it, with varying degrees of success. And now I'm gonna show you why people actually hold it in such high regard. So buckle up. It's time to talk about Silent Hill 2. Silent Hill 2 was the third Silent Hill game I've ever played. The first one was Homecoming, which is a bit shameful, but I think people are hating on that game too much. It can be quite good sometimes. The second game I played was The Room, which we'll get to later. Before actually talking about the game, I need to quickly point some stuff out. For this video, I'll be playing the Enhanced Edition, because that is the best way to play this game. Thanks to a lot of bureaucratic bullshit, and because Konami were incompetent, Silent Hill 2, along with Silent Hill 3, is basically abandonware. Yes, these amazing, revolutionary, groundbreaking games have been abandoned by the company. And no, we're not talking about the HD collection. Get that shit out of here. Go on, shoo, shoo. Thank the Colt's God, some cool people created the Enhanced Edition. It's lovely. It retains all of the content from the director's cut of the game, including the expansion, which we will get to later. It also keeps the visual style, but makes everything look even better than before. A+. Speaking of the cult, you know all of that spooky cult stuff from Silent Hill 1? Well, just pick it up and throw it in the trash, because it's not important anymore. For now. Anyway, let's start the game. Silent Hill 2 introduced puzzle difficulty on top of combat difficulty, which is genius. More games should do that. The only other game I know that did that is System Shock 1, and its remake. See? If a game has this feature, it automatically makes it one of the best games of all time. This is James. James Sunderland. He got a letter from his wife, who told him to come meet her in Silent Hill. We can even read it, if we want. But why should we read it when she can do it for us?
In my restless dreams, I see that town, Silent Hill. You promised you'd take me there again someday, but you never did. Well, I'm alone there now, in our special place, waiting for you.
Ah, isn't that cute? So romantic and wholesome. There's only one tiny teeny problem. It's not a big deal or anything, but...
A dead person can't write a letter. Mary died of that damn disease 3 years ago.
Yeah, she's dead. James somehow got a letter from his wife, who died 3 years ago. Not something that really happens every day, let me tell you. Apparently they visited this town a few years ago, and they really loved it here. I'm guessing that was before all of those monkeys got loose. She tells him to go to their special place. James assumes she's talking about some park. He says they went there and just stared at the water for an entire day. What a waste of time. What a bunch of losers. I'm sorry. This is too romantic for me, and I don't know how to deal with that, so I resort to bad jokes and sarcasm. Anyway, I love this cutscene. It quickly establishes a mystery, which is, how the fuck are we getting a letter from a dead person? And it also establishes a goal, an objective, get to the park. First of all, if you've seen Jacob's letter, then you'll recognize this jacket. It's the same one that Jacob wears in the movie. So that's a nice and constant reference to a nice and lovely film.
Ho, ho, ho! Merry, Merry Christmas!
The camera and the controls are all basically the same. The only difference is that you can't do that little backwards hop anymore. Little backwards hop. So it's a bad sequel. Don't play this. Now we can play with the keyboard, and if you really want, you can play this game with only your left hand, depending on how you set your controls, which is pretty much what I did. Do not ask me what I did with my right hand. And no, it's not what you think.
Yes, it is.
Shut up. In the Enhanced Edition, you can save anytime you want from the pause menu. But if you don't like convenience, you can pretend that option doesn't exist and use these red stickers to save at specific locations. They act like the notepads in the first game. You'll notice that the fog doesn't look bluish anymore. It looks like an actual fog. We meet the first person on our journey, and somehow the dialogue feels even more surreal, but in a good way. Have a listen.
Excuse me,
I'm sorry. I
No,
was
it's
just...
okay. I didn't mean to scare you. I'm kind of lost.
Lost?
Yeah. I'm looking for Silent Hill. Is this the right way?
Yeah. It's hard to see with this fog, but there's only the one road. You can't miss it.
Thanks.
But
Yes?
I think you'd better stay away. This town, there's something wrong with it.
Something wrong with Silent Hill? Nah, I'm sure it will be fine. She insists the town might be dangerous, but James doesn't care. He tells her that he's looking for someone important to him, and he says it in the most dry way possible.
I'm looking for someone.
She's also looking for someone, her mama.
I'm looking for my mama. I mean my mother.
Apparently, she was also supposed to meet her father and brother, but they're not here. Don't worry though, we'll get to know them later. I gotta say, for 2001, which is when this game came out, they did a really good job with the character animations. Sure, the character models themselves aren't exactly next gen compared to what we have now, but their movement is kind of realistic. When they're talking, her eyes are moving back and forth, which shows how anxious she is. When she finishes talking, she thinks that James might not care about what she has to say, and she wants to turn around and apologize, but she doesn't turn around immediately. She does it gradually, then tilts her head to the side. Again, because she's kind of timid. She's looking around. James nods his head and interrupts her with a hand motion. Maybe I'm overreacting a bit, but I love this attention to detail. They feel real. Well, as real as an early 2000s video game character can feel. Oh, and yes, this is the character that everyone were memeing about in the trailers for the remake. Personally, I don't care about the changes to her physique. I just think that her character model looks kind of bad. She's the only one who looks like an actual video game character. Everyone else looks okay and kind of realistic. You know, kind of next gen or whatever, except for her. But whatever, it's not a big deal. I'm more worried about the story being changed. The gameplay looks good though. We wish each other good luck, and with that, we continue our journey. Unlike in the first game, where you were forced into Silent Hill, here you are going there willingly, because you actually want to. No one is forcing you to go there. Nothing physically pushes you, you are choosing to go there. We're getting closer and closer, and thank God there's no Comic Sans here. We get here, and it says danger, keep out. And then another sign tells us to keep out. I don't think that's a coincidence. I think something is actually telling us to go back, like our subconscious. But we're not gonna listen to no signs. What are you, the sign police? We finally arrived in town. I miss this place. Oh, blood. Spooky. This part mirrors the beginning of the first game. Protagonist arrives at a foggy town, sees someone in the fog, and decides to chase after it. And in both games, you can't go anywhere else until you go after it. But here, we're not trying to find our daughter. So I don't know why James was so curious about this random figure in the fog. Maybe James is just a weirdo. Something important to note, starting with this game, whenever the protagonist tilts their head, it means they're most likely looking at an item. So pay attention to where their noggin is pointing at. After following this person, we reach a dead end. But James hears something inside of the tunnel. So he climbs in. He finds a radio.
Radio.
Which starts to get louder. Remember how the radio can detect monsters? Well, there's been a spooky creature here all along. This was the thing we were chasing all of this time. Awkward. Look at the S on that thing. It's not happy that we disturbed it on its morning run, so it starts spitting on us. Which is something you should always do whenever people disturb you. James isn't too happy about it though, so he grabs Plank from Ed, Ed and Eddie, and we're introduced to our first enemy. We can't escape, even though we just got here from the same path, and there's nothing blocking our way, so James is just lazy. But it's okay, we don't need to escape, because for the most part, the combat in this game is the easiest in the franchise. If you pay attention, you can actually see it in the cutscene, but most people won't notice it because they're too busy staring at James. He's just so captivating.
I didn't mean to scare you.
Now we can leave, but the radio starts talking to us.
Is this thing broken? What the?
That was a lovely conversation. It sounds like every conversation I have with women, because I never understand what they're saying. They're too advanced for me. Maybe I should stop making these jokes. Also, it sounded like Mary, so that's ominous. Maybe she really is here. James leaves bloody footprints, a foreshadowing of his past sins. Or maybe he just needs to clean his shoes. Going back into town, we see that it's crawling around with these creatures. Literally crawling around. Whoa! Leave me alone. How do you even crawl like that? Will you teach me? Like before, we can choose to fight them or to run away. Like a pussy. These games always had a bigger emphasis on the story and atmosphere, rather than the combat. But I feel that it's especially true in Silent Hill 2. In the other games, enemies can sometimes actually pose some kind of threat. Here, it feels like they're here just as a formality. Even the bosses. They are here for the symbolism, but also, this is a video game, so you gotta have enemies. Usually I would have hated this approach, the lack of challenge, but Silent Hill 2 has such a good story, such a thick atmosphere, interesting characters and amazing symbolism, so it doesn't really bother me. I can accept the easy enemies and the lack of combat challenge, because literally everything else is amazing. Of course you can still get hurt and die from an enemy spitting in your face if you're not careful. Our objective is to go to the park. We don't really know how to get there, but the road that was blocked earlier has now opened for us. So that's where we go. We find a corpse, which is always lovely, but next to it we find the apartment gate key, which reads Woodside Apartments. We also find a note about some bar, so we mark it on our map. We go there, and inside we find a map of the town, which shows us how to get to the Woodside Apartments. We already have a key to the apartments, so might as well go there. What's the worst that can happen? We make it to the apartments, and yup, they're creepy alright, mainly dark. I guess everyone forgot to pay the electricity bill. It's dark, quiet. We don't have a flashlight yet, but we do find a map. Never go anywhere without a map. This part is infamous. Many horror games try to replicate it and make their own versions of the apartments. Cry a fear, anyone? The apartments are great. It's well known for a reason. It's the first proper gameplay section of the game. You're stuck in cramped hallways. It's dark, so you can't see what's ahead of you. But you can hear what's ahead of you. Sometimes you don't hear anything. This is supposed to be a normal building where normal people live. Instead, it's a dark maze where half of the doors are locked. This is also where you start solving your first puzzles. But first, let's find that flashlight. I have played this before, so I know there's an enemy behind this mannequin that's wearing a very specific piece of clothing. It's supposed to jump scare you, but this time I'm gonna jump scare it. Take this! Oh, I can't hit it yet. Okay, fine. I'll pick up the flashlight and pretend like it's my first time playing this. Oh no! It's a pair of legs on top of another pair of legs. I don't even know what I'm hitting. Let's go back to that clock. Now that we have the flashlight, we can start solving the puzzles. No matter how much we try, it can't be pushed. But if we go here, we'll see a message with some names. Next to them are clock arrows, and you can see where this is going. The names themselves are irrelevant, only the first letters are important. H stands for hours, M stands for minutes, S stands for seconds. You get it. We go back to the clock to arrange the arrows and oh, the clock is locked. It's not gonna be that easy. Even when you think you've figured out a solution to a puzzle, you might still be missing some pieces. We keep exploring until we find a key. We try to reach it, but a snotty little brat kicks it away. Hey, that wasn't very nice. Ah!
Hey, wait!
Damn it.
Kids were so mean back in the day. Okay. Kids these days are way worse. We need to find a way to get to the other side. On the way, we thankfully find a pistol inside of a shopping cart. This is supposedly a critique on American society because of how easy it is to buy guns. You go to a convenience store, you wanna buy some apples, some oranges, then boom, you accidentally buy a gun. With nothing more to do here, James decides to go back to the second floor when he hears a noise.
Keep it down!
I wonder what caused it. Here, let's ask this nice gentleman over here. Yes, this is him. The myth, the legend, the one and only Triangle Boy. I mean, Pyramid Head. Same thing. If you haven't played this, you still know who Pyramid Head is. You've seen him in a lot of places he really shouldn't be in, like anything outside of Silent Hill 2, and you're about to see him again in the remake. I'm gonna talk about his role in the story towards the end. But for now, let's just look at this majestic creature. So majestic. You probably imagined that we would meet him in some grand and cool cutscene. But no, he's just standing here. It's the most neutral and passive introduction you can have. But don't worry, that's gonna change real soon. Only after you pick up the pistol, the game suddenly puts a key in the room next to the clock. Oh, and there's suddenly someone here who's watching TV. Hey there, fella. Wow, this is my favorite show. Oh, you're dead. Your hair is suspiciously familiar.
God. Who could have?
What? What do you mean who could have done it? Did you forget about all of the monsters that are literally nearby? You don't think they might have something to do with this? Come on, James.
Maybe the monsters didn't kill anyone. These bodies are actual.
Hey, come on. Don't spoil the whole story. We'll get to the explanations later.
It was you!
What?
You did it. You killed them.
What?
You killed them. I saw it. You killed them. I saw it. You killed them. I saw it. You killed
You
them.
guys,
You
guys,
killed-
don't listen to him. Let's
I
just
saw
move
it.
on,
Yes,
okay?
You killed them. I saw it.
Shut up! We use the key that we found to open this door, where we find a hole in the wall. For some reason, James knows that there's something on the other side, so he decides to put his whole hand in there. He's not afraid of some monster ripping his arm off. He didn't play Homecoming. There is a moment where he feels something, he pulls out his arm, but then he sticks it right back. What? Luckily, his stupid plan worked, and there was actually something inside. It's the clock key, so now we can finally solve that puzzle. Why would anyone lock the bathroom like this? What if I had to poop? Huh? We go back to where the clock is. He's gone. He's not there anymore. We go back to where the clock is, use the key, solve the puzzle, and get to the other side of the building, where the Pyramid Boy was. James reaches the 3rd floor, and we get one of the most infamous cutscenes from Silent Hill 2. I'm not even sure I can show this, even though you can find this clip on other channels, and even though he's not actually doing anything, I think, but it's heavily implied, and YouTube can be sensitive. James is not aroused by this act and hides in the closet, like he's playing a shitty indie horror game. I'm also not sure what Pyramid Head is doing here, but it looks like he's trying to sense James with his hand. James freaks out and starts shooting at him, and the developers did something that I really like. Usually in video game cutscenes, if the protagonist shoots his weapon, no matter how much bullets they wasted, you don't actually lose those bullets after the cutscene ends. It's like the bullets in the cutscene don't count. But here, there's an explanation as to why you don't lose any bullets after the cutscene. James actually picks up some ammo, and that's what he's using to shoot at the Triangle Man. Small detail, but I really appreciate it. After all of that nonsense, we find the key that little girl kicked away. It's for the fire escape. Did you know you can block if you hold the sprint button? I didn't, though I don't know how effective it actually is. I didn't really use it. We gather supplies, run away from enemies, but not because they're tough or hard to deal with, but because they're such a non-issue. I just don't want to waste more time on them. Yeah, I said it. Why deal physical damage to them when I can deal emotional damage by calling them pathetic weaklings who can't even touch me? Why are you inside of a pool with no water? Why is there a coin here? Eventually, I get to the 1st floor, and literally the only purpose of this place is to find this juice with a 6-pack, and it's not even good juice. It's expired. Someone just left it here. Asshole. As we've seen in the last game, collecting random crap is somehow not random at all, because you will be using these items in creative ways in order to progress. For example, the juice we just picked up is used to push something that was stuck in the trash, because for some reason, James is very interested in what he calls strange garbage. I don't even know what it means. Is this part a metaphor for not throwing the trash or something? Anyway, after it falls, we can then pick it up on the outside. It was a coin of an old man. What's this? Walter Sullivan? Murder? No, we're not ready for that yet. It's not important, because now we get to meet the most reliable person ever. My boy, Eddie. Yeah. Meet Eddie. Eddie likes to vomit into a toilet and saying that he didn't kill anyone, over and over again.
It wasn't me. I didn't do it. I didn't do anything. I swear. I didn't do it. I swear I didn't kill anybody.
You see that dead guy inside of the fridge? Yep, he totally didn't do it.
He was like this when I got here.
My name's James. James Sunderland.
Eddie.
James asks if he's friends with Pyramid Boy, and Eddie says that he doesn't know who that is. What if he was friends with him? Would James kick his head into the toilet like a typical school bully? He also tells us that, like James, he was compelled to come here. Something made him want to come to Silent Hill. James doesn't want to distract Eddie from his vomiting session, so they wish each other good luck and we move on. What? You don't care about football and graffiti? Wow. He's just like me for real. James uses the key to the fire escape and almost falls down because there is no actual fire escape here. There's nothing. Thankfully, the building nearby is super close, so we can just go there from here. We can go back and forth whenever we want. Who was the architect of this place? We don't have a map for this building yet, but we do have this safe. We'll get back to it later. We walk outside and immediately get ambushed by this pathetic fool. I want to quickly mention that I like how the water splashes when you step on it, and even when the enemy steps on it. I don't remember if it was like that in the vanilla ice cream version of the game, or if it was added in the enhanced edition. Either way, I like it. We come across a very creepy hallway. Spooky.
Just gonna relax.
After exploring a bit, we enter an apartment where we find a woman we met earlier, and she's not doing so well.
Oh, it's you.
Yeah, I'm James.
Angela.
Angela. Okay. I don't know what you're planning, but there's always another way.
Really?
Her name is Angela, and she's clearly thinking about doing something very bad to herself. James tries to be a good boy and tries to talk her out of it. He actually succeeds. I guess a good way to get someone out of this situation is to talk about your dead wife. They'll think you're crazy and forget what they were doing.
Don't worry. I'm not crazy. At least, I don't think so.
From my understanding, from what I've seen online and in real life, this is a really accurate depiction of a person going through a mental breakdown and experiencing post-trauma, especially the trauma that she's been through. We'll talk about her backstory later, but for now, I'll just say that it's one of the more memorable scenes in the game. It's so iconic that Angela is the one featured on the cover of this game, even though she doesn't actually have anything to do with the main plot of James Sunderland, which goes to show you the importance of this scene. There's also this part.
But you're the same as me. It's easier just to run. Besides, is what we deserve.
No, I'm not like you.
Are you afraid? I'm sorry.
It has a lot of significance, but like with most things, it will make sense towards the end. Eventually, James manages to convince her to put the knife down, so that she won't hurt herself.
What about that?
Will you hold it for me?
Sure. No problem.
If I kept it, I'm not sure what I might do.
She puts it down, but not before freaking out in self-defense and running away. She left her knife here, which is obviously the smart thing to do considering her condition, but now she doesn't have a weapon to defend herself. James picks up the knife, but you can't use it as a weapon in the gameplay, which is fine, because if it's like the knife from the first game, it's shit. Garbage. But more importantly, it affects the ending you'll get. I'm not gonna spoil it now, but let's just say that if you don't want to drown, don't look at the knife in your inventory. After the cutscene, we find a prisoner coin, depicting a woman, which is kinda fitting to find next to Angela. We take a good look in the mirror to get ourselves psyched up. Indulge in our foot fetish and find the coin puzzle. There's a riddle here, 3 coins. Yes, I have those. The old guy doesn't want to sit next to the snake, but he does want to sit to the left of the woman. He's probably a pervert. Hentai. We put these two next to each other while putting the snake far away from them. It took some trial and error, but eventually I got it. After that, we get a key, and even the game calls it the coin puzzle. I finally found a map of this building, and thankfully, every place I've explored is automatically added to the map, because maps in Silent Hill are awesome. Remember that safe from earlier? I go back to it, then I go past it, so I can do this. That's a perfectly normal thing to do. Are you sure? You seemed like you enjoyed yourself. We do the toilet thing, which gives us the code to the safe. Inside, we find tons and tons of bullets. Just so you know, I haven't used a pistol at all so far, so no problem with resource management here. Exploring a bit more, James finds the door that corresponds with the key we just found, which leads him to another shitty apartment with an actually nice balcony, which then leads him to another key, a key to the stairway. Why are there so many keys? There's a save point here, but we probably won't need it. Awkward. Can you let me out of here? Did he just grunt? All of this time, I thought he was a silent antagonist. But you gotta work on your swing, man. That was pathetic. Okay, that was better. So yeah, we're fighting Pyramid Head now. It's very spooky the first time you play it. Not only are you suddenly stuck in a cramped space with this horny triangle monster, you also can't do any damage to him. Yeah, you've been killing some low-level enemies up until now, but it's not gonna be the same with him. No matter what you do, he's invincible. He doesn't even flinch, which goes to show you how powerful he is, compared to James. You're nothing to him. It's all very cool, especially when you know all of the context and the symbolism, but I don't actually know if you can call this a boss fight. In terms of gameplay, it's actually laughably easy. All you need to do is run away for a bit until he literally gets bored and goes away. You can easily dodge his attacks. Come on, you can do it. Oh, that was close. Come on, I believe in you. Oh, nope, one more time, come on. And... man, you can do better than that. Oh shit. Having said all of that, he can one-shot you if he actually hits you with this overhead strike, but it's fun to mess around with him, which I guess kind of diminishes the horror you should feel from him, but you're probably not gonna feel comfortable toying with him like this on a first playthrough, so it's okay. I actually got him stuck here and kept whacking his pyramid until he said, "Fuck, you're annoying. I'd rather go drown in the water over here." At this point, if you try to go after him, he will get pissed off and will try to hit you. Every time. I annoyed him so much that he wanted nothing to do with me. We'll see how this fight will go in the remake. The water is drained and we go after him. Finally, we're out of this building. James keeps going until he sees this little girl again and we get this peculiar interaction.
You! It was you, wasn't it? You're the one who stepped on my hand.
I don't know. Maybe I did.
What's a little girl like you doing here anyway?
Huh? Are you blind or something?
What's that letter?
None of your business. You didn't love Mary anyway.
Wait! How do you know Mary's name?
Oh, James. Getting owned by a little girl again. This whole cutscene seemed super random until she mentioned Mary's name. This little girl is hanging out at creepy apartments, sitting outside in a foggy and spooky town, and somehow she's not scared out of her mind. And she knows about Mary. I smell a big fish, because this is very fishy. Obviously, we don't get any answers right now, so we keep going. James finally reached his destination and actually meets Mary. They give each other a big hug and go home, where they live happily ever after. Yeah, you don't buy it either. I'm sorry I lied to you. He does meet Mary, but not really.
Mary? No, you're not.
Do I look like your girlfriend?
No, my late wife. I can't believe it. You could be her twin. Your face, your voice, just your hair and clothes are different.
My name is Maria. I don't look like a ghost, do I? See? Feel how warm I am?
You're really not Mary.
I told you, I'm Maria.
James asks if she saw Mary, and she's like, "Wait, you just said that she died. How could I have seen her?" And James is like, "Oh, whoopsie, I forgot. Teehee. But let me tell you about the letter my dead wife sent me. Hehe, I'm not crazy at all." She suggests that maybe the park isn't the only special place they had. The moment she says that, we get some kind of hazy flashback of someone, presumably Mary, which then prompts James to remember about the hotel he and Mary stayed in. The hotel is on the lake, and it's called Lake View Hotel. Sounds like something Sam Lake would write. Haha, love you, Sam.
Narrow your mouth.
Anyway, the hotel becomes our new destination. She gives James vague directions on how to get there, and also decides to tag along because, well, what? Well, are you gonna just leave her? Are you gonna just leave her all alone in this spooky town? Yes. So this is Maria, and in my opinion, she's by far the most important character and the scariest character. Not just because I'm afraid of beautiful, sassy women, it's also because of what she represents, which again, we'll talk about it later. The way we treat her will affect the ending we will get. There are some seemingly random requirements for each ending. Unlike the first game, we don't need to do a side quest and save an asshole doctor from a spooky monster, or throw some liquid shit on a possessed cop. It's way more subtle this time. It's the small actions we take during the game. The kinds of actions we might not put too much thought in, or even notice them. Stuff like looking at Mary's photo, reading her letter again, not looking at the knife, that we got from Angela, bumping into Maria over and over again, hitting Maria with a plank, you know, small subtle stuff. Don't hit women outside of video games though. You don't want to end up like certain people over here.
With a brick.
If we stay close to her, protect her from monsters, not bump into her while running, visit her when she feels bad later in the game, and you know, generally be kind to her, then we will get an ending associated with her. You will see why later, but I do not want to get her ending. So from now on, we're going to hate her and be very mean to her, which generally means just not waiting for her and bumping into her occasionally. We find a car with a thick, long pipe sticking out of it, so obviously we take it. The roads are blocked. There's no clear way to the hotel. Fortunately, this dead guy left a map with a big circle around a bowling alley, so that's our next destination. We fight some jumping mannequins. They really like to jump. Look at them. How do they do that? We reach the bowling alley and Maria suspiciously doesn't want to go inside, so we go alone.
I'll wait here. I hate bowling.
I didn't come here to play, you know.
Hurry back, okay?
We get a cutscene where that little girl is stuck in with Eddie, and she's not being the nicest person, to say the least.
So what'd you do? Robbery? Murder?
Nah, nothing like that.
Ha! You're just a gutless fatso.
What'd you have to say that for?
I thought you said the cops were after you.
No, I just ran because I was scared.
We learn that cops are probably looking for him because he did something naughty. We also find out that the girl is like us. She's also looking for Mary. But now we get the best scene in the game. Best cutscene in all of gaming. Don't at me.
Eddie?
Oh, you're...
James. We met in the apartment building?
Yeah, I remember. But...
Are you alone here, Eddie?
No.
Bye-bye.
Wait! Come back! Eddie, let's go after her.
Huh? Laura? But why?
Laura. Is that her name?
That's what she said.
Here it comes.
This town is full of monsters. How can you sit there and eat pizza?
She said she was fine by herself. She said a fatso like me would just slow her down.
Forget you.
Eddie doesn't want to help James chase after small children, because why would he? James wants to ask her about Mary, but that has nothing to do with Eddie. He just wants to sit here and eat
pizza.
Side note, I really like the soundtrack in this place. Finally there's some calming music. Instead of weird and disturbing noises, or some sad stuff, which I love by the way, we finally get a really nice tune. This is a safe space, but of course, we can't stay here forever. We have to go back outside, and look for Lara.
Laura?
And look for Lara.
Laura.
Lara.
Laura?
Lara.
Did a little girl run out of here?
Yeah, she was too fast for me. Aren't you gonna go after her?
That's what I'm doing, lady. We follow her trail into an alleyway. This shot always reminded me of the original RE2, where you're in that alley in the beginning, shooting these zombie freaks. We can't go after Lara, because she went into this narrow space between the wall and the building. Maria says that we can get to the other side through this door. We try opening the door, but it's locked. Thankfully, Maria has a bunch of keys hidden in all of her vital places. We go inside, and again, there's some really lovely music. Heavenly music. Just play this game, if only for the soundtrack, but also for the game. This is basically a strip club. Maria had the keys to this place, so maybe she works here. But we didn't come here for that. Or maybe we did. No. We exit this fine establishment and manage to get to the other side of the street to continue searching for Laura. She runs away, deeper into the fog. This is like Cheryl all over again. These damn little kids, always running into fog. She then decides to go inside of this hospital, so that's our next destination. I guess we just forgot about going to the hotel. If you try to go forward, James will say that he can't just leave her alone with the monsters, and also she might be able to tell him something about Mary. She seems to know her somehow. So unlike certain YouTubers and streamers, James at least has some good and valid reasons to chase after minors. As expected, the hospital is abandoned, dark, and most of the doors don't want to work. Yeah, the lock is broken, of course. You're just like every other door, you're not special. We do find an interesting note describing a mental patient and whether it's even a good idea to heal him. Maybe it's best if a person just stays in their own delusions instead of living in our shitty reality. Some might say that it's a shitty reality. I'm not saying that, but some people might say that. I might be part of those people. Next to the note, we find a key for some mysterious box. We take it because we take everything we see like a kleptomaniac. For now we keep going, but there's almost nowhere to go because literally every door on this floor is either locked or jammed. So we have to go to the second floor, where I immediately get ambushed by a new enemy type, which I couldn't see because the camera freaked out and I almost died. As much as I love the camera in these games, it can fuck up occasionally. Of course, I kill them with my big, long pipe and then step on their heads. Meet the nurses. Like the other enemies, they're not difficult to deal with, but they are a bit more challenging. One of them actually gave me a jump scare, but that's mainly because she started glitching out. I don't know if that's part of the symbolism. They are one of the most iconic enemies from the franchise, which is mostly because of their revealing features, but also because, like with Pyramid Head, some geniuses decided that the nurses should appear everywhere. Why are they in Homecoming? Why were they in the movies? Because whoever made that decision was a big dum-dum. Like Pyramid Head, they should only appear in Silent Hill 2, because, as we will later find out, they are directly related to this game's plot, and only this game. But I guess people thought that they were just too cool, so they used them everywhere, and they probably also said, "Hehe, boobies." Yes, they are a cool enemy, but they only make sense here, in this game, so stop it. They obviously also make sense in the remake. Right now, eh? Besides the dirty magazine, we also find an examination key inside of this coat. We also find a prick teddy bear that pricks us.
Ow!
What's wrong?
I just pricked myself.
Which gives us a bent needle. Yes, it will be important later. But more importantly, next to it, we find a shotgun. Look at this woman. Isn't it beautiful? Isn't it? Come on, let's get going. I'm a good person, I swear.
Are you sure about that? What's 2 plus 2?
4?
What's 4 plus 4?
8.
What's my color?
Green.
When is the universe going to explode?
What? I don't know that.
Well, I do. I knew it. You're not a good person.
How is the universe's destruction related to my morality.
One day, you will find out.
Okay.
Soon!
Next we find a key. James goes back to the first floor and uses the examination key to open this door. Inside, there's a code. We then go explore the third floor. There's nothing here besides a couple of nurses, and a door locked with a password. James uses the code we just found, and it actually works. Something in my life actually worked. I mean, in James's life. Yeah, that's what I meant. Welcome to one of the more goofier puzzles in the game. Look at this mess. So many locks. There's gotta be something really important if it's locked this hard. Right? Before I got here, I found a code on a typewriter. 6995. We use the code to open one of the locks, but we have to keep exploring to find the other combination. All of this exploration and door opening made Maria tired. She sits down, starts coughing, and takes some suspicious pills. James tells her to lie down and rest, while he goes searching for Laura. Yes, James, yes. Tell her to rest here, alone, in this monster-infested hospital. We can come back to visit her, which will increase the chances of getting her ending. So obviously, we're not gonna do that. Have fun sleeping here. More importantly, next to her, we find the key to the roof. So that's where we go. Suspiciously, we can't save here. That's odd. I wonder why that is. Yeah, fucking great. The only time you can actually hit me is in a cutscene. You cheater. James falls down to the third floor and loses most of his health. But because the game is easy, I have tons of healing items. So that's not a problem. I got your back, Jimbles. We're in the special treatment section of the hospital. All of the doors are locked, except for this one, where we find a nice room with some lovely decorations. It gives us the code that we need. So I run back before I forget it and open the lock. Next, we use the keys that we have to open the remaining locks. And after all of that, after opening all of these locks, we get a piece of hair. Someone used 4 locks to hide a dirty, smelly piece of hair inside of a box. Are you fucking kidding me? But it's okay, because now we can actually combine it with the other random thing that we got, the needle, which we use as a sort of hook to get a key that was stuck inside of the shower hole. James really likes to poke inside of tight holes. It's the key to the elevator, and it's got an ear? Using the elevator leads us to an unexplored area of the first floor, where we finally find Laura, who is just playing with her teddy bears.
How do you know about Mary?
What's the big deal?
Why can't you just tell me?
You gonna yell at me if I don't?
No, I won't.
You snotty little brat!
I was friends with Mary. We met at the hospital. It was last year.
You liar! Laura,
Fine, don't believe me.
But last year, Mary was already... I'm sorry, Laura. Anyway, let's go. We can talk about this later. This is no place for a kid. There are all sorts of strange things around here. I can't believe you haven't even gotten a scratch on you.
Why should I?
Because there are spooky monsters here.
Wait! There's something I gotta get.
Later, okay?
But it's really important.
What is it?
A letter from Mary.
Huh?
I wanna go get it. Is that okay?
Yes!
She really isn't afraid to be in this creepy hospital, in this creepy town, which will be explained later, but she somehow has the key to this door, which I don't think was explained, She just has it, I guess. Anyway, she tells James to go get the letter in this dark and hellish place. And then...
Laura! What are you doing?
Ha ha, I tricked you.
You think this is funny?
In a cosmic sort of way, yes.
Well, Mr. Funny Man, is this how you get your sick kicks?
What? It's just an ordinary... Oh my goodness!
Laura locks James, and it just so happens that there are some fucked up hanging creatures here with big lips.
You snotty little brat! Open up!
Why, you...
Laura?
You cut me!
Fart face? Fart face?
You cut me!
Ow! That's the most damage I've gotten so far. These are the first flying enemies in the game, and they really like to strangle James with their feet. Hitting these enemies with melee weapons can be done, but it isn't really convenient. So I'll finally use my guns. I think I have enough bullets. Probably. I guess this is considered a boss fight. These are the toughest enemies so far, so I'm okay with that. But even still, they're not difficult, as long as you move back and forth, which is the strategy for pretty much all of the bosses. Also, when you kill them, another one shows up from the ceiling. I guess it was sleeping over there, and I woke it up. Sorry. Towards the end of the fight, the siren makes an appearance, for the second and final time in this game. Remember how the siren appeared pretty frequently in the first game? Well, here it's almost non-existent. It only appears twice in the entire game. The first time it appeared was in the first pyramid fight. I guess that was his cue to go swimming. You remember what happens when you hear that siren, right? James is suddenly in the hospital garden. It sounded like he was transported on a hospital gurney. He enters the building, and we realize that we're in the other world. Did you miss it? You'll notice that it's much less aggressive than last time. Less aggressive than in the other games. It's also less frequent. When it does show up and suck James into itself, it's doing it in a more subtle and quiet way. It just kind of happens. Well, except for this time with the siren. Now the nurses seem more corrupted, and they hit much harder. You're a nurse. You're supposed to heal me. We find the pills Maria was taking, and James wonders if she's sick, like his wife was. Yes, she's sick. Good. Do not choose her. Why is there an ambulance outside of my window? Seriously, there's an ambulance outside of my window. And I can't record my voice. We can't seem to find Maria, but we do find a door with hands. We go to the second floor, annihilate some more members of the working class, and then find even more hands. Here I could have a quiet life here. They give us a cell battery and a basement key. We then find a refrigerator just lying on the floor. I don't really want to open it, considering what happened last time. No. Thankfully, James is not a super alpha male with a podcast, so it's too heavy for him to open. Which means we'll need the help of Maria. Okay, let's go to her. Or better yet, let's have her randomly find us while we push this closet.
James!
Mary? Oh, Maria. It's you. I thought you were... Sorry. Anyway, I'm glad you're alive.
Anyway? What do you mean, anyway?
Ooh, awkward.
Anyway,
How is your sex life?
You don't sound very happy to see me. I was almost killed back there. Why didn't you try to save me?
Because I don't want to get your ending.
What about Laura? Did you find her?
yeah, but she ran away.
We've got to find her.
You really seem to care about her. Do you know her?
I've never met her before. I just feel sorry for her. She's all alone. And for some reason, I feel like it's up to me to protect her.
You know what? You're right. We should protect her. Even though she did call me a fart face. Oh, the humiliation. But first, let's go down this random hole where we find a ring on the floor. Don't worry, I'm not proposing. Also, let's go on a game show inside of an elevator. Wait, what? That's insane.
Hi there, everybody! Thanks for tuning in. Welcome to another exciting edition of Trick or Treat. Here you either answer the questions correctly and win a great prize, or fail to answer correctly and receive the punishment. It all depends on you. And our lucky, or should I say unlucky challenger today is James Sunderland!
Okay. Basically, you get stuck in the elevator until the imaginary game show host asks you 3 questions, which you can answer later if you want, or ignore completely. This seems like a random, wacky, goofy scene, but this is Silent Hill we're talking about. Nothing is random. Everything has a purpose. But yeah, it's super goofy. I like it. Just an out-of-nowhere game show in the elevator. After that pop quiz, the game ends ominously, and everyone is left confused.
Well then, everybody, thanks for tuning in. See you again sometime. Bye-bye!
What was that?
This was probably the weirdest part in all of these games. Imagine just standing in an elevator and suddenly hearing a voice telling you, "John, you're a stupid, ugly mofo who's bad at everything he does. Fuck you and have a nice day." That would be kind of weird, right? So, sorry if I offended any Johns out there. If you want to get the rewards you was talking about, you can go here, where you will find a special box. In order to open it, we need to answer the questions correctly. If we don't, the box will be locked forever, the ceiling will literally fart on us, and we'll have to go to a previous save if we want to open it. If we do answer correctly, we get a lot of goodies. It feels a bit like cheating, but it's your reward if you paid attention to notes, street signs, and even the previous game. It's a test to see if you're a real fanboy, or fangirl, fan person. We're almost done here. We open the fridge together, which gives us another ring.
Not very cute, is it? Here, James. You take it.
Thanks.
We use both rings and the door with the hands, which allows us to open it. We go inside, go down into the darkness, Pyramid Head shows up, and I think I broke him. Maybe not physically, but mentally. Look at this poor fellow. I'm sorry. This is supposed to be a very spooky and epic chase sequence where we run away from him while he's chasing us with his long and pointy penetration stick. Okay, let's pretend this never happened and follow the script. Oh no, please stop chasing us. Oh no, help, ah! I really like your hat. Please don't kill us.
Open up!
I know I've been goofing on this part, but I actually really like it. Love it, even. It's a sad moment where James has some time to reflect. It's becoming more and more apparent that this town is doing whatever it can to torment James. He thinks he's found his wife. Nope, spooky spitting monster. He meets a woman who, even though she's not his wife, she still helps him and keeps him company. Nope, dead. He meets a little girl. She steps on his hand.
Ow!
And calls him a fart face. The torture never ends. And like in all of Silent Hill's stories, it's about to get much worse. Yay! Before exiting the hospital, we find a note that tells us to look for the truth and to follow the map. We take the map and get some new destinations: a ranch, the park where we met Maria, and the Silent Hill Historical Society. Sounds like an interesting place, we should totally check it out. Also, Lara is just casually walking down the street. James exits the hospital and is feeling kind of bad, but he's not giving up. He's still determined to find Mary. We're back in town, and oh boy, it's super dark and the streets are crawling with monsters. So watch out. This part of the game feels like filler, but I love it. You should definitely play this with headphones, especially in this place where there's tons of monsters outside and you can hear the lovely and deranged sounds they make. It's amazing. This is a really spooky part. You know how it's scary when you're walking down a dark corridor? Well, this is basically the same. This is basically a really long and dark corridor. Also, the nurses can teleport again. Look at that. 2 colleagues going home together after a long day of work. How wholesome. We can even go back to where the apartments are, but we can't enter anymore. At the same time, this door that was locked before is suddenly open. You don't have to explore as much as I did, you can run straight to the objective. But it's really worth it, especially on the hardest difficulty. You want to be loaded with as many bullets as possible for the boss fights. On the way, we meet a new enemy. It looks like an enemy from the next game, but it's stuck underground and can barely do anything. I didn't even remember this creature. This poor, dumb, imprisoned creature. Okay, sorry.
You're not actually sorry.
Shh. Eventually, we find a wrench and a letter addressed to James. It basically tells him to find a statue in the park and use the wrench to open a box that contains a key that will open the doors to the Silent Hill Historical Society. So that's what we do. We arrive back at the park and find the lady statue. Behind her, we dig a big hole like a dog, find a box, and use the wrench to open it, which actually gives us the key. That note wasn't lying, unlike all of the notes that I get in my mailbox. What is this note? Bills? I need to pay bills? Nah. You're pulling my leg. Get out of here. After acquiring all of the items, we finally arrive at our destination. Welcome to another lovely attraction. Here we can see some amazing artwork, like this selfie that Pyramid Head took after killing a bunch of people. He probably got a lot of likes for this one. There's actually some backstory about the town. You can stop and read it, but that's not important now, because we need to go into this hole in the wall. Why do we need to do it? Well, it's a video game and there's nowhere else to go. But also, it's symbolism, which I'll explain later. We'll be going into a lot of deep holes very soon. And I mean that literally. Listen to how creepy and evil it sounds. Somehow, we're in prison now. This is probably the place with the most symbolism and important plot points. Also, it's very spooky. Yes, we eventually find a big hole on the floor. See, I told you. James is like, the hole is dark, and you can't see how deep it is. Okay, it means I should jump down. That sounds like a smart idea. What? I'd like to point out that James is choosing to do it. Nothing is actually forcing him to do it. He's literally given the choice whether he wants to jump or not. And he chooses yes. Yep, he survived that, but now he's stuck in a well. Forever and ever and... oh wait, he's not. You can just break part of the wall. We've reached the only part of this game that I kind of don't like. We pick up this key and suddenly our flashlight stops working, and we're locked in here. There's a keypad that opens the door, but Silent Hill protagonists have really bad eyesight, so they can't touch anything without a flashlight. So we use the battery we picked up at the hospital to power up the flashlight, and now there's bugs everywhere. Literally everywhere. And they make these annoying sounds. Ah, fuck. They also infinitely respawn. All of that is annoying, but what makes it worse is how awkward it is to actually press the keypad. I don't know if it only happened to me, but I needed to stand in a very specific angle in order to interact with it. After you're finally able to use it, you need to pretty much guess the password. It's obvious that you only need to press these 3 numbers, but you don't know in what order. So it's literally a guessing game until you get it right. And every time you get it wrong, you're pulled back into the gameplay, and will most likely get hit by these loud bugs. I think the idea is okay, but the execution was pretty lame. Whatever, what's next? Oh, another hole. Yeah, okay, let's jump in I guess. I got nothing better to do. Wow. James is looking right at you. Yes, you. Yeah, you know who you are. Oh wait, no, it's actually Eddie. It's been a while since we've seen him, and he's a bit completely insane.
Killing a person ain't no big deal. Just put the gun to their head. Pow.
You killed him?
But it wasn't my fault. He made me do it.
Calm down, Eddie. Tell me what happened.
That guy, he had it coming. I didn't do anything. He just came after me. Besides, he was making fun of me with his eyes, like that other one.
Just for that, you killed him?
What do you mean, just for that?
Eddie, you can't just kill someone because of the way they looked at you.
Oh yeah? Why not?
Freeze. Zoom in. That's a good question. Why not? But no, if you're actually asking that, you're too far gone. You've lost it. You've lost your marbles. But also this situation is sad when you know the context. Sometimes bad people, and just life in general, can push you over the edge.
Till now I always let people walk all over me. Just like that stupid dog. He had it coming too.
Okay, now you've gone too far, mister.
Eddie!
I was just joking, James. He was dead when I got here, honest. Anyway, I gotta run.
You're going out there alone?
Yeah.
Eddie!
So that was unsettling. Yeah, spooky monsters are spooky, but humans are still the scariest creatures. If you don't believe me, then go on Twitter. Wait, now it's called X gonna give it to ya. Anyway, something is definitely wrong with our boy Eddie, but most likely the town is playing tricks on him, just like it does with James. It makes him see stuff. We can't worry about him though, because we need to solve this puzzle next to this spooky pyramid head painting and this lovely noose. There are 3 square holes here. We already have the first square. The second square is in this jail cell. This time, I'm not gonna make the same mistake I made in the first game. This time, I found the rifle. No one can mess with me, baby. Also, here's the final square. What's this? Books about sacrifice and resurrection? It may be tied to one of the endings. But yeah, you're right, James. Let's not worry about that right now. We put the squares in their respective holes, hear a lovely scream, and fall off the stairs. And then, are you ready for this? This is also kind of goofy. We use a horseshoe and a lighter on this. Yeah, there's only depression left. Anyway, we use those things and a wax doll to somehow create a makeshift door handle. We open the door, and of course it leads to another hole. James doesn't even hesitate this time, he just jumps. Almost immediately, he jumps into another hole. Because why not? But wait, then he jumps again. Don't worry, he's not just being an idiot that likes to jump into the abyss over and over again. Well, maybe he is, but it's symbolism. Of course it is. I'll explain it towards the end. If that wasn't enough, he goes into an elevator which takes him even deeper. God only knows how deep underground this is. But maybe it's not really happening. After all of that, after this long and insane dark descent, after all of the madness it took to get down here, what do we find in this abyss? The most normal looking door. Just one regular door, which is the most anticlimactic thing that can happen. It doesn't fit here, but because it's something so ordinary, in such an insane place, it somehow makes it scarier. On the other side, we find a path, covered in wires. We need to find something to cut it. We also kill a bunch of spooky monsters, but who gives a shit? Then we... Oh, hi Pyramid Head. Let's see who has the better stick. Yeah, okay. I'm sorry. Please don't kill me. Please don't kill me. Please don't... What's this? Oh yeah. Come here. Now I am you. I will punish you now. Taste the power of... Oh, okay, never mind. Can I have your spear instead? Yes, we can actually get Pyramid Head's weapon. I really like it, because it's so goofy and impractical. Pyramid can wield it, because he's a strong boy. But James is just a normie. Just a regular dude. You can barely move, but if you actually manage to hit something, you can one-shot almost anything. A good strategy is to first equip something lighter, like any other weapon, get close to your target, and then switch to the great knife, and slash away. It's fun. Inside of Pyramid Head's dungeon, or man cave, or workshop, or whatever this place is, we can see a bunch of scissors, and those flying bosses we fought at the hospital. Maybe he made them himself, as another means of tormenting James? Eventually, we get to this weird face puzzle. It's the only puzzle in the game that I would call kind of bad. Or maybe I somehow just didn't get it, but the way I see it, it's literally a guessing game. From what I know, there aren't really any hints to get to the solution. I don't know, I didn't get this puzzle. I kind of solved it by accident. But hey, at least I like the design of this cube. It has some cool faces. Anyway, it opened a secret passage, which of course leads us even further down. I think at this point we've reached the core of the earth. But now, it's finally time. It's time for the most mindfucky scene in the franchise. And maybe the most mindfucky scene ever.
You're alive! Maria! I thought that thing killed you! Are you hurt bad?
Not at all, silly.
Maria? That thing! It stabbed you! There was blood everywhere!
Stabbed me? What do you mean?
It chased us to the elevator, and then...
James, what are you talking about?
Just before! Don't you remember?
James, honey, did something happen to you? After we got separated in that long hallway? Are you confusing me with someone else? You were always so forgetful. Remember that time in the hotel?
Maria?
You said you took everything, but you forgot that videotape we made. I wonder if it's still there.
How do you know about that? Aren't you Maria?
I'm not your Mary.
So, you're Maria?
I am. If you want me to be.
All I want from you is an answer.
It doesn't matter who I am. I'm here for you, James. See? I'm real. Don't you want to touch me?
I don't know.
Come and get me. I can't do anything through these bars.
Okay. Stay right there. I'll be there soon.
So, what the fuck just happened? Is probably what you're asking. Well, As you might have guessed, like pretty much everything in this town, Maria also serves as symbolism. We'll go into all of the details later, but I need to go a bit into spoiler territory. As you know, Mary, James's wife, was sick. What you don't know is how James felt at that point in time. Yeah, he was sad about the whole situation. Obviously, he loved his wife and wished she would get better, but deep down, there was a part of him that started to resent her, despise her, or at least despise her situation. Part of him wanted a better version of Mary. He wanted her to be healthy, hot and spicy, and in some way, he got what he wanted. His desire was manifested by Silent Hill, and thus Maria was born. Maria is like a remake of Mary. She's like the enhanced edition, with all of the DLCs and microtransactions included. Or at least that's what James wanted her to be. I don't know if you've noticed, but none of the other characters have ever interacted with Maria. She said that she's seen Laura, but Laura herself never mentioned her. No one ever mentioned her. No one besides James. Which means that, yup, she's not real. She was never real. James was basically talking to his imaginary girlfriend. Only that's not completely true. He can literally feel her. She's technically real, but it's only a manifestation of James's desires and temptations. This is basically the antagonist of this story. It's so much freakier when you realize that what you've been talking to isn't even a person. You're not even talking to a real human being. It's a thing created by the town to torment you. It's almost like a succubus, which is kind of fitting considering the final boss in the previous game was called an incubus, which is the male version of a succubus. Kind of. Before we continue with the main story, we gotta talk about her side of the story. Even though I just said that she's just a manifestation, she does have a backstory. This will explain how she got here.
And now for something completely different.
Born from a Wish is an expansion that explores Maria's backstory before she met James. It will leave you confused, but it might answer some questions, or at least give you something to think about.
When I woke up, I was all alone. Everyone's gone. Is it because of those monsters? What do I do now?
She contemplates whether she should fight the monsters. Maybe it's better to just give up and die. She even says that she doesn't have any reason to go on. But
I'm scared to die. I'm so afraid of pain.
She decides that she wants to find somebody, so she wouldn't be alone. But was it even her decision to begin with? Or is the town dictating her actions? She goes outside and look, it's that strip club we passed by in the main game. Remember how she had the keys to get in here? Well, now it makes sense. She either works here or lives here, or she was created here. In terms of gameplay, she pretty much plays the same as James. The main difference is that she has no flashlight and no radio, so you can't really tell if monsters are nearby. Except you can, because they make loud noises. They really want attention. There's some stuff that happens here, but basically, she goes through Silent Hill, fights a bunch of monsters, until she encounters a giant mansion. She enters, and I guess the developers finally decided to make a Resident Evil clone, just like Konami wanted. Of course it's empty and a bit creepy. She explores the place, until she meets someone on the other side of the door.
Is somebody there? Open up! Hello? Open up! Is somebody there? Hello? Hello?
Stop it. You're disturbing me.
Is somebody there? Hello?
He kind of sounds like he has a text-to-speech voice. Or maybe it's just me.
No. I want to be alone. Other people just irritate me.
He's just like me for real. His name is Ernest Baldwin. And he's actually not a text-to-speech AI. He's actually voiced by this guy. First of all, cool name, bro. And second, even if you don't know who this is, you do know who this is. Because he's the guy who said these magic words.
Resident Evil. Resident Evil 2. Resident Evil. Resident Evil 4.
Yeah, that guy. I guess he was tired of being cool and growly and wanted to do a simple and bland voice. Which is fine, he does it well. He sounds so tired.
Is it really necessary for me to answer all your tedious questions?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Anyway, he doesn't want to see or talk to anyone. He doesn't even care about the monsters. He just wants to be alone. When Maria questions him about it, he does say something interesting.
You want to be alone in this insane asylum?
Yes, exactly. But how can you say that it's this town that's insane? Perhaps it's we who are insane. Both of us. Hopelessly insane.
Well, maybe. We can have a deep discussion about it.
Are you satisfied? Would you leave me alone?
Oh, okay. So he basically tells us to fuck off, but Maria tells him that she'll be back. If we immediately try to go back, he's not gonna answer. I mean, what did you expect? He's probably busy in there. Busy gooning.
No. I guess not.
No, actually, he has a pretty sad backstory. Like every character in this game. After exploring and solving some puzzles, we go up to the attic, when suddenly, we hear some voices.
Oh no, she fell out the window! Don't move her!
What happened?
We use a match to light a candle so we can see, because we don't have a flashlight, which enable us to check under a chair, where we find a birthday card. A child made this for their father. The child's name is Amy Baldwin. Hey! Wait a minute! It's the same name as that person we talked to. You probably get where this is going. Not a happy place. If you're still not sure, then the child's ghost will just tell you what to do.
Give it to my daddy.
Your daddy?
Yes. What a fool! Now, when it's too late, I finally understand why. Why she was there. Why she was holding that empty envelope when she fell.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry I reminded you.
No need to apologize. You didn't remind me. I've never forgotten. Maria, some things we forget, and some things we can never forget. It's funny. I'm not sure which one is sadder.
I really like this sentence. It's so basic, but so true. You can forget what you ate for breakfast, but you'll never forget something traumatic.
Like that time when you played Doom 2, and you were so scared you almost shit your pants?
Hey, I was only 4 years old. Those imps were spooky. Look at that 4-pack. Anyway, his daughter died 10 years ago, when she fell out of the window. But after Maria gives him the birthday card, he suddenly says,
Maria? So you must be... That's why you could see me.
Huh?
So perhaps that means that I can hope for a miracle as well.
What do you mean?
He realized who or what Maria is. He realized that she isn't exactly a person, that she was born from a wish. Ah, get it?
Wait a minute!
She was born from the wish that James made in his subconscious. In some sense, her existence is a miracle, which makes Ernest wonder if he could get his own miracle. A miracle that might have something to do with a ritual that might bring his daughter back to life. Maybe. He asks her to bring him a bottle with white liquid from a familiar apartment building. For some reason, he can't get it himself. And she's like, yeah, I'll do it. It's boring to just sit and do nothing, so why not?
Maria, thank you.
Before she goes, Maria finds a note written by Ernest. It alludes to the cult from the first game, and it also talks about resurrecting the dead, which is... let's just say that it's relevant for one of the endings. It also might imply that Ernest was part of the cult, but we don't have enough information to know if that's true or not. For now it's only allegations. Here I realized how dark this game actually is, and I'm not talking about the tone or the plot. I mean, it's literally dark, because you don't have a flashlight, so I turned up the brightness a bit. It's not Doom 3 levels of darkness, but still. We exit the house and... what's this? Keep out of haunted mansion? Ha! Ghosts aren't real. This is a humorous foreshadowing. We go to the apartment building next door, which looks awfully similar to the one we visited in the main game. And that's because it is the same place. Also, you get so many bullets, the game almost becomes a run and gun shooter. You have no reason to conserve ammo. We find the safe that James opened in the main game, but we don't know the combination. If we try to look for the combination, like James did, Maria doesn't really want to do that. I wonder why.
Who would even think of doing something so disgusting?
We get to where the pyramid boss fight happened, but the cute fellow isn't here right now. This path leads to the park where she will eventually meet James, but her little side quest for Ernest isn't finished yet, so she goes back. We eventually find the white liquid that Ernest wanted. But I turned down the brightness. How can you still not see? With our fetch quest complete, we go back to the Spencer mansion and give the liquid to Ernest. Or do we?
Thank you, Maria. That's the only item I couldn't get myself. By the time I found out about it, I could no longer leave this house. So long.
Yes, but will...
Maria, the gods are here. You know it too. You were born in this town.
I'm not sure God is the right word.
He knows a lot of stuff for some reason, but then...
That James. He's a bad man.
James... Yes... I know.
He's looking for the you that isn't you.
Because he's kind? Do you know something?
Yes, Maria, you're...
Anyway.
Anyway? Anyway?
What do you mean, anyway?
Yeah, what do you mean anyway? You literally asked him if he knows something. He was about to tell you something about your identity, and then you say, anyway, I don't want to know, even though I just asked you, but I don't want to know. Duh. Then why did you ask? So anyway...
That's just what you think. You don't really know anything. That's fine.
Okay.
Okay. She finally opens the door, but he got offended, so he disappeared. No, actually he was a ghost all along. Remember that graffiti on the house? I told you this was an epic foreshadowing. So yeah, she was basically talking to nobody this whole time. It's not clear if Ernest was actually talking to us, if he was a ghost, or what even is the purpose of their interaction. Why does this side story even exist? Obviously, this town is making all of this possible, but why would Silent Hill want them to communicate with each other? Is it just so that Maria could hear the name James and realize her true purpose, her fate? Because that's basically what happens. She instinctively starts going towards James, like she can't control herself, like she's pulled to him. But with the last bit of her individuality and decision making, she wonders if she should just end it all, ultimately deciding that it's best to go on living. Otherwise, she wouldn't be able to psychologically torture James, which is the best reason to keep living, but whether or not that was actually her decision, or Silent Hill forcing her to do it, is unknown. Everything I just said about her is obviously my speculation. I don't think there's a concrete answer, but it makes sense, I think. Maybe. Or maybe I'm just crazy. The story ends with the moment they meet each other in the park.
Mary? No, you're not.
Do I look like your girlfriend? My name is Maria.
Oh, shit!
This whole scenario gives more credibility to my theory that the entities that the town creates, about how the entities the town creates are actually self-aware with their own will, to a degree, like Lisa from the first game. She was also kind of not a real person, but was created from someone's mind. She had her own personality, but she was still bound by some rules, like how she wasn't allowed to leave the hospital. She had her own will and individuality, but eventually she had to succumb and fulfill the role given to her by the town, which was to become another monster. Imagine if we got a side story and could play as her, just like we did with Maria. Well, it might have been boring, because, from what we know, she was just hiding in this room all of the time. Her campaign probably would have ended right before she transformed and became like them. All of that is similar to what happens with Maria. She has her own goals and individuality. She does pretty much what she wants, but her personality slowly starts changing as she starts to play her role and starts going towards James. She's basically like a robot, a puppet the town created for James. And eventually she... well, you'll see. It's time to go back to the future. Remember how Maria was worried about Laura? Like, really worried? Like she knows her? Because Maria is basically a different version of Mary, she has some of her memories, and probably some of her emotions and attachments. Meaning, if Mary was close to Laura, Maria would also feel close to her, even if she doesn't understand why. And like Laura said, Mary was her friend. They met each other while Mary was in the hospital. A part of her knows that Mary's dead. Another part thinks that she is Mary. She's going back and forth. We can see it when she starts calling James honey and starts talking about something that only he and Mary would know. Either way, she wants to replace her. She wants James to surrender and accept her. she subconsciously started affecting him right at the beginning of the game. You see those posters? Yup, that's her.
That's me.
She was there all along, but at the end of the day, she's just a tool. The town is using her to communicate with James. It reminds him about the tape he recorded with Mary. It wants him to watch it. And in order to do that, he needs to reach the hotel, which was the objective all along. Ooh, okay, we've talked about James and his AI girlfriend for long enough. Let's see how the other characters are doing. They're probably fine.
Daddy, please don't!
Yeah, they're not doing so great. Oh no, it's this part. Buckle up. Ew, 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 ew. Okay, you're right. I just wanted to see what James would say if he tried to leave. Welcome to the most disturbing part of this game, which says a lot, because a lot of this game is disturbing. She just called this thing Daddy, and not in a kinky way, but more in the, yeah, that's actually her father way. It attacks by grabbing you and pulling your head down to its... I don't even know what's going on here. So yeah, you can figure out what's going on here. While James was chasing little girls and OnlyFans models, Angela was dealing with her own demons. And one of them is this abomination. It's called the Abstract Daddy, and it represents, well, her abusive father. Her sexually abusive father. Again, this is the most disturbing content, so if you're especially sensitive to this stuff, just skip ahead. Because that's not all. This thing also represents her brother. Remember how in the beginning she thought that her father and brother were here? Yeah, well, apparently they both abused her. And only thinking about it is scarier than any monster in the game. It's like, the father wasn't enough, let's also add the brother too. God damn. But also apparently, she killed them both. Just before this boss fight, we can read a newspaper where it basically says that she killed her father by stabbing him multiple times. We can also see her running away from her house in the intro cutscene. Presumably this happened right after she killed them, and right before the start of the game. Just outside of the boss fight, there are tons of newspapers scattered around. I assume they also have articles about Angela's father, and they have today's date, which implies that, yeah, she killed them today. She did it with the same knife she gave us. All of these events explain why she acted in such a bizarre way. Having this kind of childhood will most likely fuck you up for life.
I feel bad. Please don't.
Why would she think that they were coming here, though? We later learn that James had some repressed memories, so maybe the same is true for her. She kind of forgot that she killed them. Also, like James, she came here looking for someone, her mother. But like Mary, she might already be dead. According to creature designer and art director Masahiro Ito,
only Angela knows what she sees. Her abstract daddy, James, players, and I cannot see what she sees. We are on James's side. And who can say if the abstract daddy, which James sees, is the same as what Angela sees?
Which basically means that every character who came to this town sees something different. So for example, if James sees a feminine creature that likes to spit on his face, Angela or Eddie might see something completely different. They might also see a monster, but to them it will look differently. This creature is made out of a big mouth and some things rubbing against each other. They're all lying on a bed and are covered by a blanket made out of skin. Also, the arena is filled with holes with tubes that are moving back and forth inside of them. And yeah, I think you can figure out the symbolism yourself. How Angela sees this creature is probably way worse than how we see it, which is fucking terrifying. We'll see how the remake will handle this part. He's so disgusting and demented as he's limping and dying, he can't help himself and he still tries to get to you. He's still coming at you, in every definition of the word. It's like the only thing on his mind is sexual assault. Luckily, even monster predators can be put down with a few shotgun rounds, or with a giant sword. Let me just get the right angle. And yeah, fuck you.
Are you okay? Angela, relax.
Don't order me around!
I'm not trying to order you.
So what do you want then? Oh, I see. You're trying to be nice to me, right? I know what you're up to. It's always the same. You're only after one thing.
No, that's not true at all.
You don't have to lie. Go ahead and say it. Or you could just force me. Beat me up like you always did. You only care about yourself anyway. You disgusting pig.
Because of what she's been through, you can imagine that she's not the biggest fan of men. She thinks that James is just a lying, manipulative, horny monkey, because that's what her father and brother were. Even though James just saved her, her trauma makes her not trust him. We also don't know exactly what she's seeing. Like Ito said, we, the players, only see what James sees. To us, he seems normal, but maybe she sees him as a literal monster, because of the town's influence. Or maybe the town showed her something bad about James. Maybe there is some truth to her words.
You said your wife Mary was dead, right?
Yes, she was ill.
Liar! I know about you. You didn't want her around anymore. You probably found someone else.
That's ridiculous. I never...
She doesn't trust him, but at least for now, she's safe. Also, I believe that this is her apartment, or at least Silent Hill is showing us a representation of her apartment. This has to be the living room. And the place we met her, when she was lying on the floor, that was probably her room. Okay, that was traumatizing. Let's check up on Eddie. Maybe he's doing better. Actually, wait. Let's take a break from horrifying backstories. We need to solve this puzzle first. It's actually an important and thematic puzzle. This place has 6 bodies. Each body represents a criminal who was hanged for some horrible crime they've committed. Damn it, I just said that we're taking a break from horrifying backstories. We need to figure out which one of them is innocent. We do it by going to another identical room, which is filled with 6 nooses. Each corresponds with the hanging bodies in the other room. Symbolism! This puzzle is here to test us, to see if we have the capacity to make a proper judgment and distinguish between sinners and innocent people. The theme of past sins is important in this game, as you will clearly see later. We need to pull the correct rope to show that we've figured out who the innocent one is. But how do we do it? Like we do with pretty much every puzzle, we read notes. This one tells us that we need to find the innocent one, and if we don't, we will be punished. Supposedly monsters will appear and attack you, but it didn't happen to me. The other note gives us the actual solution. Pay attention. Dead man swinging on a tree. Kissing. Wait, no, that's not the solution. At least not for this puzzle. We need to read about the bad stuff that each criminal has done. The first one was basically Hannibal Lecter. The second was selling children to some very bad people. The next one was playing too much thief. This one was playing too much Monopoly. This one was scamming people. He was probably selling a course online about dropshipping. And this one is our man. It's a story about an arsonist. Some houses were burned down, but the sheriff didn't have any suspects, so he just blamed a random person and sentenced him to death. Very not cool, especially because of all the heat from the fires.
That was lame.
So that's it. We did it. We found the innocent one. This is the man blamed for arson. We go to the corresponding rope, pull it down, go back to the other room, and now, instead of some hanging innocent schmuck, we find a key, which we use to unlock these handcuffs. Who the fuck put handcuffs here? Now we can turn the valve and open this damn door. And after all of that bullshit, what do we get? Maria's rotting corpse. Literally. She was killed by Pyramid Head at the hospital, then somehow she was here, alive. James told her that he'll come and save her, but then she dies, again. I am sensing a pattern. Even though there's blood everywhere, this time it doesn't seem like it was the handiwork of Pyramid Dude. Look at her face. It looks more like a disease. Like Mary's disease? The town is trying to show James that, no, you can't replace your wife. She's dead, and every time you try to replace her with this woman, she will die too. Mary isn't coming back. The last stage of grief is acceptance, right? James needs to accept these facts.
No. Acceptance, Ethan. Acceptance.
You snotty little brat!
So that was kind of depressing. I mean, his wife died, his wife's clone died, Angela was traumatized and she hates us. Everything's shit. Maybe I should just give up. Maybe I should just dig my own grave and jump inside of it. Oh, someone already did it for me. Yeah, whatever, I don't care anymore. And I guess the game also doesn't care anymore, because there wasn't even a cutscene of him jumping. We're just teleported to whatever this place is. So we've seen lying meat. We've seen some hanging meat. Speaking of hanging meat, we're about to see it. Now it's time to talk about Eddie. And I don't mean that he's the meat. I mean there's actual hanging meat. We're getting closer to a freezer. See, there's like freezer fog and shit. You'll see. There's also blood. Well, here we go. Let's pile up more trauma on our shoulders. We find Eddie standing over a dead person, which he killed. Yeah, he's gone completely insane-o.
Eddie? What are you doing? What does it look like? He always busted my balls. You fat, disgusting piece of shit. You make me sick. Fat ass, you're nothing but a waste of skin. You're so ugly, even your mama don't love you. Well, maybe he was right. Maybe I am nothing but a fat, disgusting piece of shit. But you know what? It doesn't matter if you're smart, dumb, ugly, pretty. It's all the same once you're dead. And the corpse can't laugh.
Well, that was some edgy shit. But yeah, I guess he's right. Dead people won't react to you no matter how much you talk to them. Trust me.
From now on, if anyone makes fun of me, I'll kill him! Just like that.
Okay, that was some edgy shit. Also, are you planning to kill any person who looks at you funny? How many bullets do you have anyway?
Eddie, have you gone nuts?
I knew it. You too. You're just like him, James.
Hey, I didn't mean anything.
Don't bother. I understand. You've been laughing at me all along, haven't you? Ever since we first met. I'll kill you, James!
Unfortunately, this is realistic. Being bullied for a long time can really damage your self-esteem and make you paranoid. You think that everyone is out to get you, even though most people don't even know that you exist. And if someone says something to you, no matter how innocent or logical it may be, you'll take it as an insult and a personal attack on your character, which is what happens here. But no matter how bad I might feel for Eddie, he's still trying to kill us, so we have to defend ourselves. Let me show you how to deal with someone who wants to kill you. First, you block their attack. Then, you let them hit you, just to give them false hope. You then pull out a massive sword from your pocket and one-shot them. But because there's 2 phases to the fight, he survives. For now. You see all of these bodies? Supposedly, he killed all of them. We'll talk about it soon. We go after him and... See? Told you. Hanging meat. It's symbolism for how he thinks that other people think about him. I think. Eddie was bullied for a really long time. Eventually, it started messing with his head. He started believing that he has no value. But eventually, he couldn't take it anymore. He wanted revenge. So he came to the guy that was bullying him, shot him in the knee, and then shot his dog. And then, like James and Angela, he was somehow called to Silent Hill. We don't actually know what exactly made him come here. For James it was his wife, for Angela it was her mother, but Eddie, he just says that he ran away, and it's implied that the police are chasing him. Probably because that bully reported him to the police for shooting him. Look, I can understand shooting that douchebag, okay? But why that dog? Nothing justifies shooting a dog, unless it's a really bad doggy that tries to bite your head off. He also says that he enjoyed it. Now, okay, just for that, we gotta kill him. I'm sorry. Unalive him. Game end him. Is that what the kids say? He also says something interesting and accurate when James tries to lecture him.
You think it's okay to kill people? You need help, Eddie.
Don't get all holy on me, James! This town called you too! You and me are the same! We're not like other people! Don't you know that? Let's party!
I don't really like parties, so... In the first game, Alessa was the one projecting the nightmare. Here, the devs wanted to mix it up, so you wouldn't know who was the one that was projecting this nightmare. Eventually they said, let's make it all of them. I'm assuming that's what happened. Every character we've met has their own version of Silent Hill. We might be looking at the same thing, but they will see something different from us. Except for Maria, since she is our own projection, and Laura. She doesn't actually see anything bad in the town. That's why she's not afraid of hanging out in creepy apartments, and the creepy streets, and creepy hospitals, because for her it's not creepy. She doesn't see any monsters. The worst she might see is the fog, and that's because she's just an innocent little girl. She's the only one without a troubled past. She's the only one who hasn't committed a grave sin. Well, besides stepping on our hand and calling us a fart face. I'm still sad about that, you know, but the same can't be said about Angela and Eddie. While Angela had a very good reason to kill her father and brother, it's still considered a sin. At least according to Silent Hill. What? You think you're the police or something? Since when do you decide what's good or bad? Huh? Please don't send me a letter from a dead relative. And Eddie, well, according to Masahiro Ito, Eddie actually only killed a dog. The bodies that we see in the cutscenes are just delusions. So I guess all of the people that he quote-unquote killed were just projections created by Silent Hill. Maybe in his version of Silent Hill, instead of seeing sexy mannequins and weird things that spit on you, he just saw his bully over and over again. At the end, he became a way bigger monster than anyone who was ever mean to him. which is a sad cycle that happens in reality. Monsters creating bigger monsters. But hey, at least we get to kill him with a fuck-off sword. Ow. Come on, don't interrupt me. That's rude. Alright, there we go.
Eddie? Eddie? I killed a human being. A human being.
He was a filthy dog killer, but yes, he was a human. We were killing monsters throughout the whole game, but this is the first time we killed an actual human. And I feel really bad about it. Real bad.
He was dead when I got here, honest.
Also, like with Angela, I think we got a glimpse into his past. I believe that this place, next to where we first meet him, is his room. It seems fitting. Remember how he and Laura were having a conversation while he was eating that delicious pizza? Of course you remember. That was the best part of the game. Anyway, it kind of seemed like they already knew each other, right? Well, that's because they did. You can see them together in the intro cutscene, and it looks like they're using a map to get to Silent Hill. Laura probably asked him for a ride. It's a little detail. Miss and you blink it. Wait, what? Blink it? Blink and you miss it. Hey, yeah, that's right. Stupid. Though it is kind of weird how he didn't get super angry when she called him a gutless fatso right in his face. He was just like, oh, come on, please don't say that. Please?
Gutless fatso.
After hearing everything I said about this character, you would probably never think that his name was taken from Eddie Murphy. I'm not kidding, by the way.
Oh! You're so wrapped up in layers, onion boy!
I realize that the older I get, the more I understand and appreciate these games. It's like I can feel what they were going for. All of this psychological horror is much more disturbing than flying monsters and cult shenanigans. Inside all of the supernatural bullshit, there is something a lot more personal and real. This is a very complex and emotional story. It's more than just good versus evil, like in the other games, or most games for that matter. That concept doesn't really exist here, actually. What's good or bad is ultimately for you to decide. Here, it's a battle against yourself and your inner demons. I don't want to know what my demons would look like.
Demons? Where?
Oh no, not you too. Anyway, it's time for the final stretch. Who wants to go to a 5-star hotel in a spooky town? I hear it's cheap this season. I was stuck in a spooky hotel in a spooky town for 40 days. And no, we're not doing that here. Okay, let's go. After a very quiet and atmospheric boat ride, we finally arrive at our destination. Unsurprisingly, everything is foggy and creepy, but James says this place hasn't changed one bit, which is not super reassuring, let me tell ya. There's nothing left to explore in town. There's only one road ahead of us. So we brace ourselves and go inside. Immediately we find a map and... oh? What's this? Waiting for you. Ah, that's sweet. I'm always happy when my dead wife is waiting for me inside a creepy hotel in a nightmare town. I get butterflies. The hotel seems like the most normal place so far. It doesn't mean that it's not spooky though. It's not dark like most of the other locations, but it's quiet. The hotel knows you're here. It even sends you personal letters. You have enemies roaming around. Even the Big Daddy shows up. 2 of them. For some reason, they don't attack you unless you get too close. Sometimes you'll hear... stuff. We find the key to where they stayed. The 3rd floor is our destination. For now the entire floor is locked off, but if you pay attention, you'll hear Mary's voice.
Jay!
And also, watch what happens when I examine Mary's letter. You know, the letter that she supposedly wrote to James, the letter that brought him here, the thing that started this whole journey. Yeah, it's blank. It's not clear if it's the town pulling a big prank on James or if it was all in his head. But regardless, the letter was never real to begin with. After exploring a bit, we get jump scared by Laura. I guess she also used a boat to get here?
Did I scare you?
Yeah, you did.
No, James, you're not supposed to admit that.
You're here to find Mary, aren't you, James? Well, have you?
No. Is that why you're here too?
She's here, isn't she? If you know where she is, tell me. I'm tired of walking.
I wish I knew.
But she said it in her letter.
What letter?
Apparently there's an actual letter for Mary. When she was still alive and was at the hospital, she gave it to a nurse. Laura then stole it from that nurse, and now she's giving it to James. And yeah, it's sad. She talks about how she really appreciates her friendship with Laura, that she's sorry for not saying goodbye. She also tells Laura not to hate James, and describes him as surly.
You snotty little brat!
He's a bit surly. Mary tells her that she loves her like a daughter, and that if things were different, she would have liked to adopt her. Happy 8th birthday. I'm feeling emotions. I don't like it. I want to cry, but I'll save my tears for the ending. As James finishes reading, he asks Laura how old she is, and discovers that she in fact turned 8 last week, which means that Mary wrote this letter very recently, which then means that she was alive very recently. So yeah, that whole "she died 3 years ago" thing was also made up by Jimmy's mind. Something is seriously wrong with Jimbles here. Laura suddenly remembers that there's another letter, but she dropped it somewhere. I guess Mary really liked writing letters to everyone, though this is a weird part, because Laura never finds it. I think it's supposed to be a letter you get in the end. You'll see. Hahaha, hey, that's not very nice. Oh, okay then. After exploring the hotel and solving some pretty easy puzzles, we come across an elevator. If we go inside, an alarm will start ringing. There is power, but the buttons aren't working. I wonder why that is. Huh? Only one person? I am only one person. Are you calling me fat? We have too much stuff in our invisible inventory, so we're too heavy for the elevator, which wasn't a problem on the other elevators, but this time we need to put all of our stuff in this closet. I don't know how Pyramid Head's knife fits here, but okay. After getting rid of everything, the elevator finally works, and we're able to go down to the first floor. We're unarmed, so enemies actually pose some kind of threat now. So we run away like chickens.
You're just a chicken. Chip, 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 chip.
The game new players might get hurt because they can't defend themselves, so it gives us some healing items. We find a bar key, so we go to the bar and try to use it. What do you mean it's too dark to find a hole? You like digging through dark holes? You've been jumping into them for the whole game now. Oh, don't give me that look. We go back upstairs and finally find a videotape. We've been hearing about this tape for a long time now, so whatever's in here is probably important. Watching tapes in Silent Hill games is never a happy experience. Now we need to find a place to actually watch it. We also find a can opener, which we use on a can. I know, shocking. Inside we find light bulbs, because of course there are light bulbs inside of a sealed can in the kitchen. Maybe that's normal, I don't know. I usually keep them in the bathtub when I go take a shower. James uses one of the light bulbs so he can finally find his hole and unlock the door. We're back at the main section of the hotel. we can get our equipment back. The hotel is dark, now it's really quiet. There's no one around. It might even be spookier like this. At least when I hear the radio and the screaming of the monsters, I know I can go kill them and be on my way. Here, I don't know what to expect. We solve an easy music box puzzle and get the key we've been wanting to get all along. The key to the 4th floor. We use it, and finally, we're here. Quite a nice room you've got here, yes. Some nice decorations. A lovely view. Kind of makes me want to go on vacation. Well, I guess there's nothing more to do. It's time. It's time for the biggest plot twist in horror games. Well, it was the biggest plot twist more than 20 years ago, but still, even if you already know what it is, it's still very effective. There's no music. There's no monsters. The town is just waiting until we decide to learn the truth. This whole fucking game has been leading up to this moment. It's time to get serious again. Enjoy.
Are you taping again? Come on. I don't know why, but I just love it here. It's so peaceful. You know what I heard? This whole area used to be a sacred place. I think I can see why. It's too bad we have to leave. Please promise you'll take me again, James.
We finally know the truth. Mary was sick, but she didn't die from the disease. Her doctors told her that there was no cure. She didn't have much long. Sometime before she was supposed to die, she was released from the hospital so she could spend her final days at home with her lovely husband, James. Which sounds sweet and wholesome, but it meant that James was now supposed to take care of her. It was okay at first, but the more it went on, the more he felt trapped. Eventually, he couldn't take it anymore, and decided that the logical thing to do is to end her life. He killed her with a pillow. It sounds evil and horrible, which, yeah, it is, obviously. It's not a very good thing to do, but it's a bit more complicated than that. We'll get to it at the end. For now, we can assume that he suppressed his memories and started subconsciously lying to himself about how she died 3 years ago and not recently. Of course, murdering his wife wasn't actually on the tape. It was a way for Silent Hill to show him the truth about her death. It's like a part of his memory was put inside of the tape. Is that how it really works? You kill your wife and just forget about it? Also, you have no idea how much I wanted to use the Dancing James meme in this part, but this is a very serious moment and the biggest plot twist ever. So I didn't want to ruin the vibes by showing it, even though I just showed it. Damn it. Anyway, it's time to explain all of the symbolism. As we've established multiple times already, the monsters aren't just random creatures that appear out of nowhere. They are projections of someone's inner demons, their past sins, their negative emotions, and how they view reality. Angela saw her father as a horny monster with a giant mouth fused with a bed. Eddie supposedly saw the guy who bullied him just standing and laughing at him. That's not very nice. And all of the monsters that we've been fighting are obviously coming out of little James's head. The first enemy we meet are called the lying figure. The upper body represents someone inside of a body bag, meaning someone dead. Usually people who are alive don't go inside of body bags, no matter how much you ask of them. Its movements look like a patient, struggling in pain. Both of which were true for Mary. She was a struggling patient who died. That's how James viewed her. The sexy cleavage nurses, it's a little hard to notice, but their head is actually swollen. They are suffocating, which represents how James literally suffocated Mary with a pillow. And I guess their cleavage represents how James was looking at the nurses whenever he came to visit Mary at the hospital. That naughty scoundrel. He loved her, but because Mary couldn't exactly please him in her condition, he probably started to feel sexually frustrated. He started looking around at other women and having naughty thoughts about them. At least that's what I think. That's probably what happened. Angela's dialogue kind of implies it.
Liar! I know about you. You didn't want her around anymore. You probably found someone else.
Next, there's the mannequins. And I don't think there's much to explain here. It's the same deal as with the nurses. They're literally two legs on top of other legs. And James probably wanted to see what's between them by hitting them with a plank. When you meet the first mannequin, there's another mannequin wearing Mary's clothes. What about this weird thing? It's called the mandarin. It's only ever found below a cage, and that's exactly what it represents. Someone trapped, which is exactly how Mary and James felt. The bosses we fought after Laura called us a fart face are called flesh lip. You know, because of their big lips and it's all fleshy. They are kind of similar in appearance to the horny daddy, only here it's not sexual. It's basically a flying bed, with the lips representing Mary's mouth, which abused James with bad words. Mary loved him, but sometimes her disease made her not the happiest person in the world. She would lash out at anyone out of frustration and helplessness, which just sucks for everyone, but it's understandable. God damn it, why is this so sad? I want to stop talking about it. I love this game, Pad.
Soon!
Let's do this. The creepers might be just bugs, but they might also be connected to Alessa from the first game. Remember, all of this symbolism shit is only possible thanks to her. Maybe some of her projections are still lingering here. And Maria, well, we talked about her already. A lot. Like with the nurses, James was sexually frustrated, but he still wanted to be with Mary. So Maria is the ideal, healthy version of her. But now, finally, we get to talk about the big man himself, Pyramid Head. When James and Mary visited Silent Hill, they went to the Historical Society, where James saw this picture of Pyramid Head. You know, that selfie he took. It's actually a painting based on the town's executioners. Because yes, Silent Hill was always fucked up. Apparently, having executioners was common here. They had a distinct look, and Pyramid Head was based on that look. See, their heads are kind of similar. After James killed her, his brain combined the memory of this lovely picture with his guilt and desire to be punished. And this fusion resulted in a real-life Punisher executioner, which is Pyramid Head. Masahiro Ito said he designed him right after finishing working on the first game, and he already knew that he would grab players' hearts. Well, as we've seen in the cutscenes, he likes to grab other stuff besides hearts. But yeah, he's obviously very well designed and is the most well-known creature in the franchise. I'm glad people love him, but anyone who didn't play Silent Hill 2 will get the wrong impression of him. They see him in other games or movies and they think, oh, it's that big, muscular triangle man. He just goes around killing people. But that's not how he works. And he's not even that big or muscular. Look at him. He's not even taller than James. they're about the same height. He only looks taller because of his pointy hat. He's been used in a lot of wrong ways, to the point where Ito himself was so frustrated that he wished he didn't design him. Personally, it doesn't bother me that much that he appeared in other stuff. He's cool no matter what. It's just important to understand that the purpose of this beautiful creature is to basically be the Punisher, but only for James. That's why he only makes sense in Silent Hill 2. Supposedly at one point, Silent Hill 2 was going to have random unscripted encounters with Pyramid Head. He would have been kind of like Mr. X. That could have been cool and creepy. Something I learned when making this video is that Pyramid Boy was inspired by a specific quote from Jacob's Ladder. I love this quote.
Eckhart saw hell too. You know what he said? He said the only thing that burns in hell is the part of you that won't let go of your life. Your memories, your attachments. They burn them all away. But they're not punishing you, he said. They're freeing your soul. Relax. So the way he sees it, if you're frightened of dying and you're holding on, you'll see devils tearing your life away. But if you've made your peace, then the devils are really angels, freeing you from the earth. It's just a matter of how you look at it, that's all. So don't worry, okay? Okay?
You snotty little brat!
First of all, go watch this movie if you haven't. Second, if you did watch this movie, go watch it again. And third, I didn't think about it like that before making this video, but yeah, it makes sense. As long as James keeps resisting, Pyramid Head will keep persisting. But if James learns the truth and accepts it, then Pyramid Head will leave him alone. Oh, and his Japanese name is Sankaku Atama, which means Triangle Head. That's goofy. Well, I guess Pyramid Head is also goofy. Before we move on, remember all of the bodies we found around town, like the one in the apartment building? Notice how their face isn't really visible, and they all have a similar hairstyle to James. Yeah, all of them are James. The developers literally used the same character models for them.
ですよ、あそこは。あの死体は実はジェームスが作り出したジェームスなんで、逆に見せちゃいけない。
Maybe it's a foreshadowing to one of the endings? Whatever it is, it's clever how it was under our noses the whole time. I almost forgot to mention it, but all of those holes James was jumping into, well, I think you can guess what they represent. He's going deeper and deeper into his own psyche, going deeper inside of himself, and getting closer to uncover the truth buried within his mind. Or something like that, probably. It's all speculation. All of it. I'm just trying to sound smart, okay? That's the real purpose of this video. Okay, I've been yapping for too long. I think it's time to get back to the story. You have the whole context now. James has the whole context. And I brought tissues in preparation for the ending. It's time to finish this.
Mary?
Laura comes in and asks James if he found Mary. And he's like, well, you see, she's not here at the moment. Actually, she will never be here. Laura calls him a liar, pants on fire. Then James just tells her the whole truth. She didn't die from the illness. He killed her. And Laura is... well, she doesn't know how to react at first. She just stands there for a few seconds until she finally realizes that she's not very happy about what he did. She calls him a killer.
You killer!
And starts beating the shit out of him. Then Jimbles gives her the coldest delivery ever.
I'm sorry. The Mary you know isn't here.
God damn, man. You'd think that our journey is over. We know the truth. Now we can go home. No, no, no. Silent Hill isn't done with us yet. We still haven't confronted all of our demons.
James, where are you? I'm waiting. I'm waiting for you. Please come to me. Do you hate me? Is that why you won't come? James?
That voice!
James! Please hurry. Are you lost? I'm near. I'm waiting nearby, James. Please. I want to see you, James. Can't you hear me? James. Please, James. James.
The town isn't satisfied yet. It wants James to keep going. The music is distorted. And if you check her fake letter again, not only is it going to be blank, but it doesn't even exist anymore. Not only was James imagining that there were words on a blank piece of paper, he even imagined the piece of paper itself. It never existed. Or again, it might be the town messing with him and it just made it disappear after he watched the tape. We don't know. When James arrived here, he says that the hotel looks just like he remembers it. Now that he found out the truth and snapped out of his own delusions, we can see what the hotel actually looks like. Old, decrepit, unkept, burned. Apparently there was a fire here sometime after James and Mary left this place. It's bad. When we first arrived here, we were actually in the other world, and now we've returned to the normal world. It's usually the opposite. There's water leaking all over, the lower floor is flooded, and we're physically stuck here. There's a wall of concrete blocking our way back, which means we can only move forward. No matter how much we try to avoid it, the hotel, this town, won't let us. It will keep messing with us. If we try to enter a door, it will teleport us back to the hallway. There's no escaping it. We can't run away anymore. We have to confront it. We have to confront her. But it's still a good idea to go back and explore previous areas. You will find a lot of useful items that might help you if you're struggling. If everything that happened up until now wasn't sad enough for you, then here's another depressing kick in the balls. We see Angela standing on a burning staircase. She's admiring some fine art, which is actually her father, and there's another one that's her brother. Pause the video and read this if you want confirmation. Remember how I said that everyone sees Silent Hill differently? Of course you remember, I said it like 5 times. Because apparently I like to repeat myself. Watch what happens when James approaches her.
Mama, I was looking for you. Now you're the only one left. Maybe then I can rest. Mama, why are you running away? You're not my mama. It's you. Oh, I'm sorry.
Angela, no.
Thank you for saving me. But I wish you hadn't. Even Mama said it. I deserved what happened.
No, Angela, that's wrong.
No, don't pity me. I'm not worth it. Or maybe you think you can save me. Will you love me? Take care of me? Heal all my pain? That's what I thought. James, Give me back that knife.
No. I won't.
Saving it for yourself?
Me? No. I'd never kill myself. It's hot as hell in here.
You see it too. For me, it's always like this.
This is how she sees Silent Hill. Not as a foggy town, like it is for James. She did see the fog, but only in the beginning. The fog probably represents foggy memories, which fits both James and Angela. She also doesn't see it as a freezer with hanging meat like it was for Eddie. She sees the town on fire. Everything is burning, all of the time. And James just happened to cross into her reality. This is serious stuff, but when I think about it, it's kind of like how summoning works in Dark Souls. I noticed that we've encountered both Angela and Eddie a total of 4 times. I believe that was intentional. The developers are Japanese, and in Japan, the number 4 is a sign of bad luck, or death. And considering what happened with these two, yeah, that number seems appropriate. Laura is the only one we've met more than 4 times. No matter how much we try, we can't go after her, which sadly represents the fact that she's too far gone. Because Angela spent the whole game looking for her, it's implied that her mother was the only one in her life who was kind to her, even though she told her that she deserved what happened to her, which is not something a kind person would say, I think. Maybe if there were more nice people in her life, things wouldn't turn out like this. Maybe if she had some kind of support system, things would be better. But she wasn't so lucky. She had to deal with all of this shit by herself, and now it's too late. Even though James saved her, it's not enough. Like she said, it's not like he's going to take care of her and fix all of her problems. He just helped her because that's what you're supposed to do. But it's not enough.
That's what I thought.
It's not clear if she dies or not, but this is the last time we see her. There's nothing we can do to help, and either way, we have our own sad journey to complete. We cross a deadly hallway with enemies that can damage us by touching our feet through the grates, which Silent Hill shamelessly stole from Cry of Fear 11 years earlier. We get to the last save point in the game. As you can see, there are 9 notes instead of the usual 1. Each note represents an enemy or character that is related to James. It's like a reminder of what we've been through. It's time to face judgment and watch Maria die again. Also, Pyramid Head has a brother now. I'm not sure what it means. Maybe James feels twice as guilty after remembering what he's done?
James! Stop! Leave her alone! Leave us both the hell alone!
He's looking at him like, oh, that guy is so loud. Whatever, do your thing. Yeah, okay. Wait, let me adjust my aim. Steady now. James falls to his knees. Seeing your imaginary girlfriend killed over and over again must be traumatizing. But finally, he understands why this is happening. He understands what Pyramid Head is. I love this part.
I was weak. That's why I needed you. Needed someone to punish me for my sins. But that's all over now. I know the truth. Now it's time to end this.
He's so confident now, they're actually walking away from him. They're like, oh shit, he actually wants to fight. I thought we were just gonna scare him a little. We actually get to fight 2 Pyramid Bros, and unlike the first fight, we can actually do some damage. James is physically showing them that he's learned his lesson. He doesn't want to be punished anymore. He doesn't need them anymore. but he needs to prove it. I wouldn't call this fight amazing, but at the same time, I think it's one of the best fights in the franchise. Not only because of the story and symbolism, that's obviously good, it's actually a pretty good fight in terms of gameplay. You do what you do in every boss fight in this game, run around the place, get as much distance as you can, shoot the spooky monster, and then repeat. It's not complicated, but it doesn't have to be. It's sufficiently challenging. You have to deal with 2 enemies at once, you can't be too greedy with your shots, and you can't be too slow. Otherwise, they will poke you with their sticks. Whoa, I've never seen this attack before. Cool. The best weapon to use is the rifle. The only downside is that it takes a while to reload, but it does the most damage. Or, you know, don't use guns at all. Use their sword against both of them at the same time. Kill them with style. You're judging them now. With their purpose complete, their existence is not needed anymore. That's why they kill themselves. Their purpose is fulfilled. We grab an egg from each triangle and use them to open the doors. The eggs probably represent our rebirth, because you know, stuff come out of the egg, it's like it's giving birth, and like James is rebirthed as a new man, and oh look, a door with a face. Let's listen to one of the last conversations Mary had with James. Like a lot of things in this game, it's sad, but you have to listen to it if you want a good ending, and if you just want to get more out of the story.
Mary?
What do you want, James?
I brought you some flowers.
Flowers? I don't want any damn flowers. Just go home already.
Mary, what are you saying?
Look, I'm disgusting. I don't deserve flowers. Between the disease and the drugs, I look like a monster. Well, what are you looking at? Get the hell out of here! Leave me alone already! I'm no use to anyone. I'll be dead soon anyway. Maybe today, maybe tomorrow. It'd be easier if they'd just kill me. But I guess the hospital is making a nice profit off me. They want to keep me alive. Are you still here? I told you to go! Are you deaf? Don't come back! James! Wait! Please don't go! Stay with me! Don't leave me alone! I didn't mean what I said! Please, James! Tell me I'll be okay! Tell me I'm not going to die! Help me!
Mary?
When will you ever stop making that mistake?
Oh, hey Maria. You decided to cosplay as Mary, huh? I admire your dedication. When did you dye your hair?
Mary is dead. You killed her.
Wait, you knew all along and you didn't tell me? You bitch!
Maria? It's you. But I don't need you anymore.
What? You must be joking. but I can be yours. I'll be here for you forever. And I'll never yell at you or make you feel bad. That's what you wanted. I'm different than Mary. How can you throw me away?
I understand now. It's time to end this nightmare.
No! I won't let you. You deserve to die too, James.
First, she cosplays as Mary, then she cosplays a nun? I'm not actually sure what she's supposed to be, and now she's choking me, and not in a kinky way, I think. This is probably the most underwhelming final boss in the franchise, at least visually. It's the only monster where I don't understand her symbolism. From what I searched online, nobody really understands either. There's only speculation. Maybe she's supposed to represent how Mary was trapped in her bed, but then why does she kind of look like a nun? Whatever, she doesn't look very interesting, but I kind of like this fight mechanically. There is some strategy to it. Well, I mean, it's the same strategy as every other boss fight in the game. You run to the edges of the arena, shoot at her until she gets close, run to the other side of the arena, and then repeat. But you gotta nail the timing. It's leagues better than the Incu shit from the first game. It's the only game from the original team where you don't fight some kind of version of God at the end of the story. Instead, you fight an AI-generated clone of your dead wife, which transformed into a flying demon stuck in a rectangle, which is less weird than fighting God. I like how if you get caught by the moths, she doesn't attack you. Instead, she waits until you're free, then waits at least another second, and only then she can grab you. It's fair. If she could grab you while you were getting stunlocked by flying bugs, it would be the most frustrating fight ever, because her grabs can almost one-shot you. Like with every boss, it's way better to use guns rather than melee weapons, but sometimes you want to do it in style. Ha! Worth it. By the way, her theme song is insane. I hope I won't get a copyright strike somehow. Listen to it. It's like Akira Yamaoka turned chaos into a song. She's still not dead. She desperately clings to life while calling to James. James. By killing her, James destroys the part of his mind that wanted to replace Mary. Soon, he will finally be free. Well, there's only one way to end this. James meets Mary, the real Mary. After everything he's been through, everything he's done, he's granted one final meeting with her. We knew that he killed her. Now we're about to find out why.
I told you that I wanted to die, James. I wanted the pain to end.
That's why I did it, honey. I just couldn't watch you suffer. No. That's not true. You also said you didn't want to die. The truth is, I hated you. I wanted you out of the way. I wanted my life back.
James, if that were true, then why do you look so sad?
Mary?
James. Please. Please do something for me. Go on with your life.
She gives him the actual, real letter. I'm gonna play the whole cutscene for you. It's gonna be long and sad. I already brought some tissues. If you don't want to cry, just skip ahead. I mean it.
In my restless dreams, I see that town. Silent Hill. You promised you'd take me there again someday, but you never did. Well, I'm alone there now, in our special place, waiting for you. Waiting for you to come to see me. But you never do. And so I wait, wrapped in my cocoon of pain and loneliness. I know I've done a terrible thing to you. Something you'll never forgive me for. I wish I could change that. But I can't. I feel so pathetic and ugly laying here, waiting for you. Every day I stare up at the cracks in the ceiling, and all I can think about is how unfair it all is. The doctor came today. He told me I could go home for a short stay. It's not that I'm getting better. It's just that this may be my last chance. I think you know what I mean. Even so, I'm glad to be coming home. I've missed you terribly. But I'm afraid, James. I'm afraid you don't really want me to come home. Whenever you come see me, I can tell how hard it is on you. I don't know if you hate me or pity me, or maybe I just disgust you. I'm sorry about that. When I first learned that I was going to die, I just didn't want to accept it. I was so angry all the time, and I struck out at everyone I loved most. Especially you, James. That's why I understand if you do hate me. But I want you to know this, James. I'll always love you. Even though our life together had to end like this, I still wouldn't trade it for the world. We had some wonderful years together. Well, this letter has gone on too long, so I'll say goodbye. I told the nurse to give this to you after I'm gone. That means that as you read this, I'm already dead. I can't tell you to remember me, but I can't bear for you to forget me. These last few years since I became ill,
I am so sorry for what I did to you. Did to us. You've given me so much, and I haven't been able to return a single thing. That's why I want you to live for yourself now. Do what's best for you, James. James, you made me happy.
I'm not crying, you're crying. God damn it. I usually never tear up from anything, but hearing all of this actually makes me tear up. That almost never happens. It's funny, or sad, how I can get way more emotional about a video game and not about real life. Even if you hear this whole monologue out of context, it will still make you cry. Despite everything he did, she understands and forgives him. She genuinely wants him to just move on, stop being obsessed, and go live life. Maybe it's also a message to the player. The game is telling you to stop being obsessed and hung up on the past. We need to learn to let go and move on, or else we will be stuck in an endless cycle of pain. Whether this conversation was inside of James's noodle or if it was actually her is unknown, but regardless, he got the closure he needed.
Mary?
I got arguably the best ending. It's called the leave ending, because James leaves. What did you expect? James redeemed himself and gets to live on. It even looks like he adopts Laura, presumably to honor Mary's wish of adopting her. And I guess Laura forgave James for killing Mary? This is arguably the best ending he could have gotten. Some people, though, might think that he doesn't deserve this kind of happy ending. That he's a horrible person who has to be punished on top of everything he's been through. He needs to be in jail and maybe even executed. Legally. By an electric chair or a spooky needle. Not by a pyramid executioner. Especially now that he's stuck T-posing. I don't know if this is a controversial opinion, a hot take if you will, but I think that James is genuinely a good person. But he's a good person who did a really terrible thing. That can happen. Obviously I'm not defending his actions. He did something horrible. No matter what you're going through, killing your wife is not good. Don't do that. But life is not as black and white as a lot of people might think. Just because you did something bad doesn't necessarily make you a genuine evil person, and vice versa. Just because you did something good doesn't mean that you're suddenly a pure-hearted angel. Whether you should be punished for doing something bad and how harsh your punishment has to be, well, that's a different discussion. In this case, I think he got punished a lot. I do not know if it's enough. His wife definitely didn't deserve what happened to her, so maybe it's not even close to being enough. But it was certainly an enormous amount of judgment and punishment. But because we read her note, looked at her picture, and ignored the AI cosplayer stripper,
Anyway!
we showed that James does actually love her, which made Mary forgive and understand him. She really is the perfect wife. There are other endings, of course. The in-water ending is achieved by not showing enough will to go on, like not healing yourself fast enough, or examining Angela's knife, and even though he tells her that he would never kill himself,
Me? I'd never kill myself.
there is a part of him that wants to just give up. We can see it with Pyramid Head, of course, and basically every enemy. They are his manifestations, and they are actively trying to kill him. Basically through them, his mind is telling him to give up. But there are other hints in the environment. All of the nooses we've seen in the prison area, and all of the nooses that are also in the prison. If you get this ending, James realizes he can't go on without Mary. He wants to be with her forever. So he does what every sane person would do. He takes her corpse and drives them both into a lake, drowning himself. Now they are together in death.
Now we can be together.
Or not, she probably went to heaven, and he's not getting in there with his track record. He's going to hell, where he will probably meet Dahlia, who will then start telling him about the backstory of the cult, and her whole monologue will be almost as long as this video. Almost.
The demon is awakening, spreading those wings.
You snotty little brat!
The Maria ending is, well, it's where you choose Maria over Mary. Duh. If you're not a big meanie, like me, and you treat her well, James will show that he's succumbing to the temptation of this fantasy, of an idealistic version of his wife. The final boss will be the same, but now you're actually fighting Mary, and because they look the same, the developers didn't need to actually change much in the cutscene aside from the dialogue. They literally just used the same character model. Smart move. James lives together with Maria, but then she starts coughing, and anytime you hear coughing in fictional stories, it always implies that the person is sick, usually with a fatal illness. James pretty much ignores it and continues with his delusions and fantasies, showing that he didn't learn anything from his adventure. He's a dum-dum. Maria will eventually die the same way Mary did, and he's doomed to repeat the whole process over and over again. Next time, he'll come to Silent Hill, and there will be a clone of Maria named Miriam or something. Now the next one is a bit more complicated. It's called the Rebirth ending. You can guess what happens there. To even attempt to achieve this ending, you must first complete the game at least once. You then need to collect 4 special items, which in some strange way are supposed to help James resurrect Mary. Allegedly. If you'll remember, that's exactly what Ernest Baldwin tried to do in the side story. He wanted to resurrect his daughter. After defeating the final boss, James realizes that he can't go on without Mary. But instead of drowning himself, like in the spooky water ending, he instead decides to appeal to the gods. From reading about the history of Silent Hill, James comes to the conclusion that the gods are still here, and they have powers.
Power to defy even death.
So he puts Mary's corpse on a boat and goes to some kind of church, which is normally inaccessible in-game. There are actually people who hacked the game, and they show you how this church looks. It's on a small island, but there's nothing actually you can do there. He supposedly goes there and asks the gods to please give him a teeny tiny part of their powers and bring his wife back to life. It's unknown if it works or not. Maybe it worked and she came back as a zombie or something and then killed him. But it probably didn't work, because from what we know so far, there aren't any actual gods here. The only quote-unquote god was the aborted fetus we fought in the first game. And he didn't seem like the kind of guy that wants to bring people back from the dead. He kind of wanted to do the opposite, which is cool, but not a very nice thing to do. But all of that is not important whatsoever, because again, we have a joke ending. 2 joke endings. Oh boy. Like in the previous game, there's an UFO ending. Aliens are coming back to Silent Hill again, but Harry is standing next to them. He still hasn't given up on finding his daughter, so he asks James about her. But James is like, I don't know what's going on here, my dude, but have you seen my dead wife? He doesn't even acknowledge the aliens. They probably got offended by that, so they zap him, and Harry even helps them carry James into the spaceship. Either they brainwashed him, or he just became friends with them. I hope it's the second option. All of it is presented in this black and white early cinema style. It's so goofy, I love it. But then, we have the true ending. The most canon ending. Or should I say, the most canine ending?
Oh brother, this guy stinks!
I'm of course talking about the doggy ending. If you manage to get a special key, you can open a special door in the hotel. And then you see it. This entire time, a little dog has been controlling the events of the game. Every horrible thing James has been through was orchestrated by this nefarious puppy, this yellow prankster. You know he did it for those YouTube clicks, for the clout. It probably uploaded so many videos of James just crying and suffering. And those videos got a lot of likes. The doggy tells James that it was just a prank, bro, and licks his face. What follows is a very goofy credit screen with the best song in the game. And a very muscular James. Whoa. Take it easy, bro. This is the canon ending, and I don't want to hear any objections. You know, the first time I played Silent Hill 2, I didn't finish it. Of course I completed it throughout the years, but when I played it for the first time, I got stuck somewhere in the spooky apartments and just gave up. I was too young and foolish to understand this game, but at least one of those things has changed over the years. I'm not that young anymore. Like I said in the beginning, Silent Hill 2 has perfected psychological horror. It's the greatest psychological horror ever, and one of the best video games of all time. And part of me doesn't really want to play it anymore. It's too sad, not only because of the subject matters and the horrible things that happened here, but also because of the performance. The voice actress for Mary did such an amazing job that she literally cried during the recording session. I read that somewhere, and I believe it. Okay, I can deal with sad stuff, and I am exaggerating a bit. I love this game. Really love it. I'm sure I'll play it again. But I'll have to not take the story so seriously next time and think about happy stuff, like cats or prankster dogs, in order to distract myself from the depression of this game. I can usually handle sad stuff very well. I'm usually a big, tough alpha male who doesn't cry from anything, but this feels different. It feels so real. It's something I can kind of relate to in my personal life. Maybe because of that, I actually do want to play it again. I don't know. We talked about all of the story and the lore and all of that, but there's something that's still bugging me. I only have one question. It was stated by one of the developers that Mary was actually in the trunk of James's car this entire time. There's another tweet about how she's actually in the back seat. Regardless of where she is, did James not notice her corpse when he drove to find her in Silent Hill, even though he's the one who put her there? I mean, okay, I get it. If you've been through something very traumatic, it can give you some form of amnesia. I get that. But did he still forget that he killed her as he was carrying her corpse into the car? And when he was driving to Silent Hill, he was like, "Okay, Mary, wait in the car. I'll be back soon. I just need to find you in this creepy town." Did he repress his memories so much that he became blind and didn't see her in the car? I mean, he would have been the one to put her there. All of this doesn't really matter, but it's kind of funny to think about. Bottom line, this game is amazing and everyone should play it. It's one of the most interesting games out there. We still haven't gotten to the remake, and I'm really worried but also excited. This is probably the hardest game to remake. Not in terms of gameplay, the gameplay can be easily improved upon, and it seems that that's what they did, so that's good. But in terms of story, atmosphere, and especially the very, very heavy subject matters, I'm afraid that they won't go as in depth as the original did, and they will tone it down, because they will think that it's too controversial, or something like that. Maybe it will be a disaster, or maybe I'm just panicking and it will be amazing. I really hope so. So far it looks really good. It seems like they've been listening to player feedback, and that's a very good sign. So I'm happy. We'll see it very soon. I think that overall it will be good, but no matter what, we will always have the original. And that's a timeless classic. Oof, wow, what an experience. I'm glad I'm not hallucinating and bringing my own delusions into reality. I don't want to end up like James. That would be bad. Isn't that right, Takin Toy of Doom guy?
You know that I'm not real, right? I'm just a figment of your subconscious. I only exist thanks to your troubled mind.
My one purpose is to judge you and guide you to your ultimate fate.
Wait. Really?
I don't know. I don't know.
Huh. Well, this video became a bit of a downer. It would be even more depressing if it would just end abruptly. Thanks for watching.
You're alive! I thought that thing killed you! That thing! It stabbed you! There was blood everywhere!
Stabbed me? Are you confusing me with someone else? What are you talking about?
Just before! Don't you remember?
I'm not your Mary.
I don't know. Ridiculous. I never. Anyway, I'm glad you're alive.
Anyway! What do you mean, anyway?
You snotty little brat!